Hi, everyone, and welcome to the ECF Counties Open Championship 2024. And the match today is between Northumberland and Surrey. Play started about, at 1:30? So we're a little way in. Yeah. And the score, I believe, is still 0-0. Hello, Peter. I'm joined by
Natasha. Nice to be here.
Peter Wells. Do you have any pre-match favourites for this big encounter?
I'm not sure. Because last year we had Yorkshire, didn't we? And this year Northumberland beat them, I believe, in the last match. So I don't have all my sort of direct county of all my 4NCL teammates, but there are a smattering of them in the Northumberland team, I think. And
that's good. So you're supporting Northumberland.
Well, hang on a minute. I mean, there's some reasons to be quite sympathetic to Surrey as well. I don't really have a strong allegiance here.
Because I do, because I live in Surrey, so I need to support.
Oh,
Surrey.
I see.
It's quite convenient if you're supporting Northumberland.
I'll make sure Northumberland get a fair hearing.
Okie doke. So here we go. So it's a 16-board match, and time limits. It's 2.25 hours, I think, plus 15 seconds. So quite like normally county matches is quite a sedate pace.
That's quite sedate. Yeah, I like the sound of that. That's quite sedate.
Yes. Okay. So let's just start at board one, and here we have Graham Buckley playing black and James Morby playing white. Should we take it from the start?
Yeah, let's take it from the start. It's one of those sort of Rossalimo Sicilians, I think, that ends up looking like a U45 opening. But there's a lot of similarities between these different systems.
Hello, Wilsonia. How are you doing?
So it started one knight F3, did it? That's a nice touch.
It did, and then it transposed into a Sicilian straight away after. So Graham played C5, which of course is a main line against knight F3 and can transpose straight away.
I think it's well worth reminding people that if you play C5 against knight F3, you need to be ready to play a Sicilian. I mean, on the whole, it's going to be people who are happy to do that. But I have once or twice come across people who I think are sort of assuming knight F3 players aren't going to go E4. So I've done this mood order with white once or twice just to try and catch someone out.
Yeah. It's very tempting, actually. Yeah.
Sort of worth checking, isn't it?
Yeah.
Of course, you have to be ready to play one E4.
I'm just sad you can't transpose it into a Mora, but
that's a very personal sadness.
Yeah.
I'd be very happy with that from white. You could after. I mean, it depends what black plays. If you play knight C6 or something, can't you go D4 takes and C3 still?
I suppose you can. Yeah.
There's probably.
I think it's these lines, and when they do some kind of knight F, not that they do some kind of knight F6 at some point. I think it could get known, but maybe you're right. Maybe yeah.
I mean, trying to transpose things into Moras has never been something I've
spent hours on it.
No.
Now Waterford is asking. Sorry, Water Power 100 is where it's being played.
Okay.
I actually don't know exactly where that is. Presumably it's on the River Trent.
I'm not sure I do either. I sort of.
Yes.
Well, I can guess it's on the Trent, but beyond that,
which I guess does that because I don't know if they do it home and away. I guess Northumberland would be home for that venue, but I'm guessing, and I should look it up. So this is Rossalimo, and black is playing G6. So Graham's playing G6.
Yeah. Now now there's a big choice. White can take on C6 immediately or castle. When you castle, you're often playing sort of C3 and D4, trying to play for the pawn center. Taking on C6 is kind of quite interesting because I think white should play completely differently according to how black takes back. So you sort of need a degree of flexibility in your thinking.
Yeah. So if you take, they could take back like that.
But if you take with a D pawn, then I think white tends to play it fairly solidly with D3, maybe H3, and tries to show that pawn structure isn't very good for giving any life to the bishop pair, I suppose. There aren't very obvious pawn breaks for black to try and sort of enhance the bishop pair. Whereas if you take with the b pawn, it's kind of a little bit more harmonious in some ways. But then white tends to play for, well, they castle, and then depending on what black does, they may well play for c3 and d4. And actually, the pawn center often provides quite good compensation for the bishop pair.
Okay.
And it's very difficult to generalize because black has lots of moves. If they play knight f6, white plays e5, then knight d. No, there's after castles, e5, knight d5, and d4, and queen takes d4, and often tries to put the queen on h4 very quickly, something like this. So it's one of those things where, you know, well, black's choice of move determines what white does to a huge degree.
Yeah,
but nonetheless, you know, there's only a certain number of things you need to know to make this quite playable for white, I think.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a minor. I think it's a general view that I still have that bishop b5 is better against knight c6 than it is against d6, or more sort of theoretically likely to lead.
It's reasonably common, isn't it?
I think it's just quite a good system. If you want to cut out learning a lot of theory, it's a very good system.
Yeah, I do want to cut out learning a lot of theory.
No, I guess you might. Seriously think it's quite a good opening book.
Okay, interesting. So g6 castle.
Castles, yeah.
So Graham didn't go for the.
He didn't.
James didn't go for the bishop takes c6 line.
Yes. Yeah, James Mobby, I don't think he always plays flank openings against me with white.
Does he?
He does.
He must think you're booked up on all the theory. But I suppose.
No, I think on the contrary, he thinks I'm not booked up on the flank openings. Yeah, you can always do it because somebody's very well informed on one area or totally informed on another. I think it might be.
I suppose so. Yes.
Yeah.
Blue Grey Hayes used to play board 14 for Northumberland in 1975 and didn't get commentary on Twitch in those days.
Indeed.
Yeah.
You could watch it in peace in those days, couldn't you?
You'd have to do the demo boards. You'd have a runner from the room to the commentary room. Yes, Blue Grey Hayes. 1975 is a long.
1975, yeah, that's quite impressive. When
that makes you seem older than you are, Blue Grey Hayes, I'm sure. Okay, so castle.
I'm trying to think, when was the World Junior Championship in somewhere in that part of the world? Maybe Teesside or something? Was that around about that?
No, I don't know.
I think around about that kind of era.
Blue Grey Hayes is 67. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I think that, you know, there was quite a lot of chess going on in Teesside at that time. I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure there was a World Junior Championship somewhere around then. But I'm a bit hazy. I'm pleased to say, and it's not often I get to say this, that's a little bit before my time, but a very rare line I'm able to utter these days. So now white's going to c3 and d4, basically.
Yeah. Okay. So here James is
c3,
building up. c3, knight f6, rook e1.
Yeah.
Which they do to be able to drop their bishop back to f1.
Well, also just to defend the e-pawn without having to move it, because they'd like to set up a sort of pure pawn center rather than one with the pawn already on e5. So it's partly just to hold it. You can play d4 and sack it in that position, of course, but that's a very different ballgame. I'm not sure. You've got to get your team captain's permission before you do that in a county match.
Yeah. Now, it's something weird. They're giving the Surrey players have the county and their titles and their rating, and the Northumberland, because James, he must be FIDE master at least, isn't he, James?
At least. I thought he might be more. That's true. That's interesting. But if you look down the list, I think there were some titles on both sides, right?
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, it would be a bit surprising if Lee Chess had a strong bias on this one. That'd be quite
impressive. Yeah. I don't think I've got my. I normally have my Video ratings thing. Oh no, I do have it open. Okay, let me look him up. Okay.
Who's that? Oh, James Morgan.
I'm going to look up James. Yeah. If I can get my. If I go ratings and. FIDE Master, yes. Okay.
And I would have thought I don't know if he has IM norms. I'd be a bit surprised if he doesn't.
Yeah. A very strong player, anyway. Okay. But anyway, he wants to kind of harmoniously defend his e pawn.
Yeah, so it was to defend that, to push d4 without having to move it, without having to move the e pawn. But after castles, does he go d4? Does he?
No,
Wait.
he has gone h3.
Yeah, it's another sort of Spanish type move, isn't it? So you want to prepare. I think here it's got a bit of a waiting element. I think what happens is that if you go d4 immediately, black plays d5.
Okay.
It creates a certain tension in the center.
Like that.
Yeah. And then white probably, the best way to play is probably to play e5 and then maybe give the bishop pair and try and sort of gain some blockade on the dark squares. So knight e4, you might take on c6, play knight bd2, but I think there are probably ways for black to handle this. I remember analysing this years ago when I was working for Joel Lautier, I think. And is that true? Maybe. I was working for somebody like that, and we sort of thought, it's like most things you look at. You know, if black doesn't play accurately, white might be getting somewhere. But if black knows exactly what to do, then there's a limit to how far you get with it, I think.
Yeah.
H3 is a bit richer in a sense because it gives a lot of options of the type of position you're going to get. But this is where it often turns into something that really starts to look like an e4, e5 opening because black. I mean, the thing is, if black wants to meet d4 with d5, they don't really have a sensible waiting move here, right? Because natural moves would be things like d6 or
if you play d6,
yeah, you don't want to go d4, d5. So that's part of the idea of h3 is there's no sort of move which is an entirely natural waiting move, but and
so Graham came up with a completely different move.
Then black often plays e5, and that's when you end up with something that looks a bit like they look like e4, e5 openings. You know, one of those ones where black. But if you think about those, black often goes to some lengths to get their pawn on c5. You know, they will chase that white bishop in order knight a5 or something, and then c5. The thing I played against Mickey last weekend, and that that's some loss of tempo for black. So you sort of feel that
because I suppose white wouldn't want that pawn here, would they? They'd want to get their knight out and.
Well, that's another thing. Yeah, I mean, you can still aim for the d5 square via other routes, but the most obvious route is gone. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Crowd is saying the game is over on 4:30. We'll hop there next. Let's.
Okay. It's not. I'm glad it's not this game that's over. It's never fun when you're discussing what might happen and then it's happened.
Yeah, we'll have a look in a moment.
Okay, so I remember I once had an opponent who took this pawn on e5, playing bishop c6 and knight e5. It was a very bad idea. So James very sensibly. Yeah, I mean it's something with rook e8, and I can't remember the details, of course. But after a move like d4, I think amongst other options, black may be able to take on e4 and then play f6 or something. I think my opponent played some funny f4 and I got knight h5 in. Anyway, it's all very loose for white and not a good idea. Don't forget black could take and also undermine the knight again with c5. There's a lot of ways to play this.
Oh yes, another c pawn coming.
Yeah, you got a bunch of c pawns. I like these double pawns. They give you lots of pawn breaks.
Yeah.
There you go. Thought for the day.
So that would be a bad idea.
I think it's not a very good idea. Yeah, what he does is much more. I mean, the normal move I think is to play d3 and develop it that way. But knight a3 I think has been seen various times before as well. The thing is that when you see knight a3, you think my first thought is that it might be going via c4 to e3, but it can equally go via c2 when it doesn't block the bishop's retreat, I suppose.
Yeah.
So there are
come in here maybe next.
Yeah. I think one thing is that, if you think about e4, e5 openings where black plays e5 and then c5. Here, for example, I think it's always going to be quite... If you go d5, I guess that white will often be able to play bishop takes c6, and that might be a double pawn that does matter. Although even that one you'd want to know. Or maybe you play pawn takes, knight takes, and bishop c6 with a double pawn that really matters.
Here, right. Double dash.
Not 100% sure, but Black never seems to play d5 in these positions, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, Black's got other pawn breaks. f5 might be nice on a rainy day. Which it definitely isn't today. Is it boiling?
It's not at all rainy where we are, I have to say.
Absolutely boiling here.
Yeah.
We went to watch our youngest playing football this morning, and we were promised nice sort of steady temperatures of 14, 15 degrees, and then it was over 20, I think. And not a lot of shade.
Well, at least you were watching and not playing.
Yeah, no, poor kids. It was tough for the kids, I think, yeah.
So Black's gone d6, which I can imagine is wanting a later f5.
That's what I mean. I think f5 is a legitimate pawn break for Black in these lines, but of course White can sometimes blow the whole thing apart with d4. So.
Okay, yeah. So you did knight c2. Yeah. Queen b6.
I guess that's. If you were marketing that, that's a developing move with a gain of tempo. But it's it also doesn't obviously immediately feel to me where I want my queen.
Yeah.
But having said that, there's no very pressing reason why not. But you know what I mean? It's you could see it as a developing move with a gain of tempo where it seems like a no-brainer. But I'm not sure quite where the queen's hoping
where it's going next. Or
yeah.
I thought he was going to drop his bishop back, but he's just dropped it back a little bit here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean...
Well, that was stop f5
It's interesting how often it's deemed a good idea to put your bishop back on its starting square, right? It makes you wonder why you bothered in the first place. Why not? And obviously you'd have to get it out to get the other stuff out. But it's interesting that they quite often seem to stand quite well where they kicked off. Kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, and so Graham now swaps this one off. Bishop e6.
Okay. Well, that's obviously also, I mean, I'm making this comparison with sort of Italian and Spanish e4, e5 positions. There's a very familiar idea in those things, right? Because if White has to take, then you get to support the d5 square sometimes, by no means always, but sometimes the open f file means something. Yeah, it seems very reasonable. It also, so you get these double pawns, but it also means that if White implements what might have been their plan of playing d4, then you won't get the isolated pawns anymore. Although often, as I try to tell pupils, it's the squares the pawns occupy rather than the pawns themselves, which are often the weakness. So, d4 might still be a legitimate thing, and you're kind of targeting the e6 square or something. But Black's position looks pretty solid to me at the moment.
So
I guess Black has an option of playing d5 themselves at some point.
Yeah. Knight h5.
I'm not sure about this knight on c2. I mean, it's sort of heading in the right direction, but part of me, old traditionalist, wants to have it on f1 or something instead.
It goes here.
It could go to f1, but it's the odd route.
You can still go to f1 in a moment, I guess. But
f1, by the way, when it goes to f1, it's sometimes coming to e3, so it might be ridiculous to move it back there. Yeah, so knight h5.
But maybe he's going to c4.
Yeah, he may go to c4. Then we relocate the queen that I wasn't sure what she was doing there anyway. And if you go to c4, you have to worry about Black maybe playing d5 with tempo at some point.
True.
I think one likely scenario is that the bishop on c1 gets exchanged off for that knight, because it could be a bit of a beast on f4.
This one here, yeah.
And then you need to see whether the...
So Graham plays in there. And this is where they're at.
I mean, to me, this looks quite pleasant for Black. I'd be happier if James Morby played this stuff against me than the stuff he's been playing. Oh, of course. Sorry. Yeah, that's then maybe. Oh, wait a minute. So 2 things.
So what can you take on?
Knight takes d3. That would be my first question.
Oh, knight takes d3. Wait. What? No. Oh, yeah.
I just want to deflect the queen from defending the knight on f3. I expect there's a good reason why you can't do it.
Doesn't that just win on the spot then? Am I being over dramatic?
Should we look at another game? No, knight takes d3 is met by knight c4 possibly, but maybe not, because then you could play knight takes e1, and after knight takes b6, take on f3 check, and then take back on b6, and then you got a lot of stuff for a queen.
You got a lot of stuff, haven't you, for the?
You have got a lot of stuff for the queen. I mean, after queen takes d6, your structure would be pretty disgusting, and the knight on f3. Well, I find that the whole variation is very hard to believe.
That's 2 and a rook, 2 pieces and a rook.
Yes.
Oh, but you're saying take there.
Well, there's a certain amount of this variation probably bears little relation to what will happen. But I don't know. I mean, it's sort of, you could sort of see how black is going to be very weak on the light squares, but they're going to have an awful lot of material as compensation for that. I was just wondering slightly if if the bishop was already developed, then you might start to wonder if the knight on f3 would one day run into a lack of squares. But I find the whole thing very unlikely. So let's just. By the way, I think it's fair before the move you were going to mention for knight takes h3 check, king g2. I think that's just the end of the story. Just the end of that knight? It's kind of the end of the horse, and the end of the story.
So that one's no good. But this other one you mentioned, this one looks good to me.
Well, but I suspect I'm missing something.
Oh, so because
obvious. But
so if they take there, you go here.
Yeah.
And that's sort of fine for black because the rook can always drop back.
Oh, wait a minute. No, there's queen takes d6 here, of course. I kind of overlooked. I checked. I'd seen that there was no, there were obviously no knight c4s or anything because the queen's fully on prise on d3. Queen takes d6. No, this is structurally too horrible for black, I think.
Is that a nightmare?
You can defend the e6 pawn, but you've lost your beautiful structure, basically.
Yeah. Okay, so you can't do it.
But if you can't do any of this, then I'm guessing that knight f4 was a bit premature.
You have to drop back again if you're doing
that. It probably would. I mean, maybe you could argue you're provoking g3 and it weakens the knight on f3. But I mean, you can argue that, but I'm not sure anyone would be listening. No one would be listening, probably. I think you can defend f2 easily enough and then a move. Yeah, and I don't think the knight being weakened is that critical.
Yeah. All right. Now,
has anything happened since g3, or is that it?
So again,
is that where they are?
That's where they are, but that's not where we're going because we're going to go to board 13.
Yes.
Which is Chris Briscoe for Surrey,
right,
against Chris Izod for Northumberland, and it's showing that there's a result. So let's just see. It looks like it didn't get very far through the game. So that could either be Lee Chess having fun or something like a mobile phone going off or some kind of thing like that. Oh, hang on a minute. What's all this? D4, H5, it is telling me, is what happened.
Really?
I don't know. Let's see it and then let's just see.
I'm pretty sure I've played both of these guys and none of them went H5, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, let's see the moves and see if we and if anyone
it does introduce a third possibility for why the game has finished so quickly. Back in the days when Stuart Rubin was arbitering these things, I think he's been known to
he threw out
penalise openings for bringing the game into disrepute, right?
Yeah, he threw out Alex Tucker against Amelia Holland, I'm pretty sure.
There you go. So possibly.
Or was it like King? It was probably just like
something with F5 and King F7, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Which I think used to be known as the Fred or something. I'm not sure if that's actually what they played, but one of those kind of nonsense openings. Very much a sort of forerunner of the Bong Cloud, really.
So or D5, G6.
You know D4. What? Black sort of made some sense of H5.
Yeah.
No, only very vaguely. I suspect this is still.
It's quite plausible. And now he's going A4. Okay.
Yeah, it would have been better in the old notation, wouldn't it? Pawn to rook 4 on both sides.
To queen rook 4, you'd have to write.
Yeah.
D6 and another bishop B5 check.
That's a very plausible bishop b5 check. This is almost pretty much a theoretical position without h5 on the board.
It actually looks a bit like the game we just looked at now.
Loosely.
Loosely. Okay, castles. Knight f6. Rook e1. a6. Bishop f1.
Now they're going to do your bishop f1. You see.
b8. Yeah, c4.
They know where these things belong.
See, but I don't know now whether, because like I've set up this little leaderboard thing to keep the score, and I now don't know whether this is real or not real or what's
meant to have happened at this juncture.
Yeah, because it's showing. This is now showing us 1-0.
1-0.
It's just showing us white won this game.
That would be
It's hard to know if that's real
you
or
went
not.
for the pawn break with b5 and you got unduly disheartened, I would say.
Yeah.
That would be an overreaction by any standards.
So I don't know. So if anybody knows whether this is a real win or still,
or indeed whether this position was really reached.
Yeah. Position looks more normal now, but anyway, yeah. So we don't.
Although if you could play a move for black, you still might invest a tempo in h7 to h5, h5 to h7 at this point.
Because why I doubt it is because earlier on the Nigel Povars was showing as a win early on, but it just wasn't. So I'm going to press.
Sonny 85 is asking if this is a Vodafone gambit. Sorry, yes, indeed. I hope not.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm not going to add it to my scoreboard yet until people tell me what's going on.
Play very cautious with that one, Natasha.
It's 1-0 on LMS. Okay. Well, I'm not going to add it on yet because I'm just.
No, I would play cautious with that one. I don't know.
Okay, let's see board 2. So this is International Master Peter Large for Surrey against International Master David Eggleston for Northumberland. And
I think it's just worth mentioning at this point that Peter Large is probably the most in-form over 65-year-old of all time, probably. Apart from possibly Victor Korchnoi at some point. Well, he's just sort of, I mean, he played some tournament earlier this year where I think he gained about 35 rating or something ridiculous, like just something that over 65s never ever do. Like I sort of feel I'm on a little bit of a comeback, but I can only barely aspire to what Peter Large is achieving in terms of improvement. Obviously, it's different for somebody who's played a lot less for a while because of his career and then come back more to chess, as I guess is the case with him. But he's looking quite well prepared and quite just very
he takes very seriously. Because I like how he posts about his rapid play results, doesn't he? He's always playing against Stanley and Frankie and all those.
A lot of rapid and a lot of but still decent. I mean, he actually didn't quite win the over 65s in the English Championship, which I kind of thought he might be in his current form favourite to do. Yeah. But Paul Littlewood managed to hold a very tense finish. But Peter Large was there or thereabouts, and he's been. Yeah, I haven't seen him have a bad tournament for a long time, really.
Yeah. Okay. So we have this kind of Sicilian.
Yes, he did this against me in the British Blitz qualifier in Bristol last year. And I got caught in some line which it turned out was part of Gawain's coffee house repertoire.
Oh yes, Gawain's coffee house.
Very, very, it was all very, very dangerous stuff. And he was whipping out these moves very confidently and quite rightly so. And then I blundered, and then it was all over. And it just sort of confirmed to me. I mean, he was somebody who, long before all this improvement, he used to be one of my bogey players when I was growing up. He was one of those sort of handful of players who were lower rated than me, but used to get very good results against me most of the time. So I've sort of I've had a lot of respect for him for a long time.
I'm pretty sure I played it. And there was do you remember? Did you ever go to Highbury Quick Plays at Highbury Field School?
I certainly went to are these back in George Goodwin's day?
George Goodwin's, exactly.
Okay, but a lot of them there were slow play ones as well. But I'm sure I played some rapid.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure Peter Large used to play against him there.
I would have thought that's quite likely. Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, so this is interesting. little weapon to avoid. So, you know, knight c3, knight c6, bishop b5, I think might be what he did against me in the blitz. And this is obviously one of the, you know, if you think your opponent is fixated on kind of bishop b5 systems, then a6 is a very sensible move to try and take them out of it.
G3, so he does it the closed rather than the F.
More like a traditional closed Sicilian.
Yeah.
Which I used to see a lot when I was women's captain. I used to see a lot of closed Sicilians. It seemed to be quite a popular thing, and I.
Okay. Not by the English players, right?
Yeah, by the English players, actually. Okay. Yes. Yeah, definitely. I mean, including people like Ivanka right back early in the day.
Mm.
B5. That's okay. This is all. And also, I'm trying to remember a piece of prep that I did with Gawain at one of the Olympiads, which worked very well. And I think this line is similar, but of course my memory is not working well enough to tell you exactly. Let's see how it goes. Bishop G2.
Well, interesting. Bishop makes sense here.
And likewise.
Knight GE2. E6. Okay, and not F4, but D4.
Yes. That's the thing. You see, I think there was a sense, a lot of people had the feeling that the closed Sicilian worked sort of fine against D6, G6 setups, but that 2 E6 specifically was a bit of a problem. So a lot of people then incorporated some kind of open Sicilian only against E6 in their repertoire, that kind of thing. And some of those were playing with G3, Bishop G2 as well. So black takes, and then there's a line where white sacrifices a pawn, which I think might be about what's about to happen.
Okay, knight of6.
Yeah, so there's the way you want to defend E4 is with castles and rook E1. Any other move would be a little bit of a concession, I think. And obviously, once you go rook E1, lots of kind of knight D5 type ideas might be in the air and stuff as well.
Oh, this is exciting. Okay,
so
3 castles, and then
and then black now. So if white gets a move now, they'll go rook E1, and the sort of problem of the E pawn's gone away. So this is the moment they have to take it if they're going to take it.
He's done it. He's gone B4.
He's gone it, yeah.
Okay, and so this really is a pawn sack.
It really is.
It really is here. Takes.
I've got. I don't know if this is exactly what Gawain had. I've got a feeling it might be, but I can't remember anything, which is sad, really.
Well, I do have that book upstairs, but maybe that would be a bit too much of a diversion.
That might be too much. Rook E1, okay. Yeah. I mean, one thing which certainly does play a role in the position is that the B6 square can be weak sometimes. So some ideas, you know, bishop E3, and if the knight moves, then you're threatening some knight B6 and some discovered attack on the rook. That kind of thing is one theme. And I think sometimes white moves the C pawn and allows black to take it with B takes C3, and then maybe some quick, but I don't remember any details at all.
I guess this kind of diagonal.
Queen F3 is also a thing, and yeah, if black doesn't retreat the knight, if black plays D5, then I guess some kind of even sacks on E6 on a Queen H5 or something might threaten knight. I don't know exactly where they are, but there's various things black has to watch out for in that kind of case.
So I want to see what happens now. So knight C5.
Oh, knight C5. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so there were no tricks here because black's defending the E pawn enough times. So.
Oh, nothing on there. But he takes, and then gets his queen to F3.
Okay, is that? So it hits the rook, which is mildly scary. I mean, one thing in the position now clearly is knight F5 for white. But I guess the question is how much does that actually achieve? You know, sometimes just a lead in development is, the sort of lead in development you get with some knight F5 positions can be quite significant. But does black have to play rook A7 here?
I don't know if they have to. He did.
I mean, I've known players, Julian Hodgson, on occasions who played rook A7 on what looked like a very voluntary basis, but you kind of feel like with most people, if they play rook F7, it's probably because they sort of have to.
Yeah.
Okay, so now is presumably there's no mileage in some knight f5 immediately. No?
So let's try it. So if knight f5,
I guess he's just able to castle
castle?
without any hassle. If that's true, then it's not very exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, some sack with knight h6 check looks very unlikely. Takes. You're threatening mate.
Because you can't, like, if you'd had some fork.
Maybe
with
even
that
f5 is a move. King h8 is a move. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but if you see, the thing I don't like for white here is that if they have to take on c5 and there's no immediate hit, you're kind of developing black pieces for them, right?
Yeah.
Which is not ideal. Okay, well, if knight f5 castles is the end of that story, then I guess white probably has to retreat the other way. Yeah.
Knight b3 here, and bishop f4 is how he did it.
Okay.
He probably wants to come into
He's
there.
eyeing up a bishop d6, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. So
for all I know, this might also be part of the coffee house repertoire, although I haven't know. I mean, it's interesting that it was Gawain's game that I was remembering, and this is a Gawain, to some extent, a Gawain-inspired opening. We know that.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's, but
everybody's playing Gawain's openings now.
Well, yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
I think his King's Indian stuff is superb, and
well, I
know
play
less
that
about
time
his.
to learn it.
I know less about his E4 repertoire book, but I mean, obviously, I played against.
I know loads of people who are playing as Lopez, Roy Lopez as black.
What's that? Sorry,
the Roy Lopez as black. The defense to the Roy Lopez.
Well, the one where you try and make it look like a King's Indian. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what he did against me last week.
Yeah. That'd be it. Oh yeah, but now what happened in your? You had a good position.
Did I?
I don't know.
I can't really. I hope Crown House aren't watching this. I haven't had enough of a mindset to look at it seriously yet. Take a bit of time I need to take a bit of time to recover from it, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I think Gawain had like 3 games in his opening and got what I thought was probably bad positions in all of them, but then he just kept winning them, so that was fine.
But I don't think the position he had against me was particularly bad. Okay. I mean, I think during the game I probably thought it was better than it was, which is
okay.
Usually my problem is lack of confidence, but I think on this occasion I actually overestimated it slightly. But like I say, I need to do a proper job on checking the reality of it.
Post-mortem. Yeah, okay.
I think there's also a problem in situations like that. You're not quite sure what you're playing for, because winning would have tied first, drawing would have won some decent money, and it was it wasn't 100% sure to me what I was trying to do, which it's never easy when you have those situations. But anyway, opening wise, this looks like reasonable compensation, but I don't know.
If you look at the clock times, it looks like David hasn't used as much time, so maybe he's still in his theory.
Okay.
In any case, Peter.
92. Really? Is that what you have to do?
I wonder if he's still trying to get in on D6.
It's true, actually. I mean, it does threaten knight e4 as well as threatening the knight. So the knight on b8 still threatened, or kind of re-threatened by defending the queen, right? The knight on b8. But the trouble is, does castles just cover everything? That's the question.
Yeah. So castle. Let's say. Oh, castles was played actually. So
I would have thought that's probably forced here because knight e4 and bishop b8 are going to be hard to.
And knight e4 was played.
Yeah.
The crowd's asking for Ashley Stewart games, so we'll go there next. Queen g6 and bishop d6. Okay, so it's getting the b4 pawn.
Yes.
Rook c8 and take here.
Okay.
Now, could the rook then just take?
Well, I think that would be the moment where possibly, there's a danger if you start opening files, then the fact that the rook on a7 is a bit silly might matter.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it may not matter. It may be that it comes in and sort of, if you play rook c1 or something, then rook a7 may be plausible, unless there's some tactic I've missed. The bishop, rook c1 probably doesn't quite do it, because then you can't go bishop c6 because c1 is bishop d6. I mean, because c1's on pre. So rook takes c2 is plausible, but it's not. It's not what he played. No,
not what he played.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to think what White's other plans are here. So
you might think about going there, right, and then try and
that is very true. You might, but you've got to be careful because f2 is actually momentarily quite weak. So you'd have to be ready to meet d5 or something.
Yeah.
Well, then maybe d5 you can just. Can you calmly go queen d3 anyway?
No, you can't, because they can take on here.
Oh, sorry, the knight's pinned. Of course it is. Yeah, that's okay. Yep. Yes. Yeah. That's
interesting.
And if rook c1, rook c7, it's not so obvious to me. That's so bad for black.
So here and there. Yeah.
By the way, what you said earlier about Gawain getting bad positions and keeping on winning with this opening, I think it was Pete Roberson who at some point really had a good position. And
oh, he did. Yeah.
Late on, right. Maybe Gawain, even late on, I think Pete missed a clear draw. That game was probably the one where White showed the most against the system. But again, I was trying to get a certain type of position rather than showing the most advantage. I didn't really form a view how good this opening is, but it's certainly, as an attempt to make e4, e5 look like a King's Indian, it's quite impressive, quite an impressive piece of work.
Yeah, I think it gets some players off their normal game, so that's sort of quite nice.
Or yes. I don't know what I think about this position. I mean, it feels like black. It looks a little loose for black, but on the other hand, as you showed it. Oh, wait a minute. Let's put rook c1 back. If we go bishop c3, d5, queen d1, is that more serious?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe that's better.
We're not being hit by a rook takes f2.
Yes. Yeah, it's better there.
That feels a bit more serious, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, okay, I'm looking for tactics. Okay.
Yeah, I don't see any totally convincing ones.
Yeah.
I'm guessing he didn't take on c2, right? He did something.
He didn't. So it was here, and then black played d5 straight away.
I mean, unless the queen on g6 is kind of embarrassed, I don't see too much not to like about black's position. It looks okay to me.
Yeah. So knight back.
And the knight has to go back. I mean, if it could go into d6 with effect, it no doubt would, but I guess it's rather loose there. So as I say to pupils, if you send your piece into the position, you have to make sure it's got a way of coming out again, and I'm not sure it necessarily has in that case.
Yeah.
But then black just actually looks more harmonious to me. Oh, that's interesting. So d4 doesn't win a piece because of knight c4. Okay. Yep.
Okay.
d4 sort of, I mean, it not just doesn't win a piece, but also concedes a square you'd rather not concede, because that d pawn's doing a good job of keeping this d2 knight out of places, right? And if you play d4 is anti-positional, but obviously if it wins a piece, you put up with a bit of anti-positional.
Yeah.
But knight c4 rescues that.
Yeah. So. Knight c4 and it hits that one.
Yeah, and then you get time to retreat, and you've gained a square that you really want.
Okay, so black came in and took.
Well, that's why That's why I was wondering if that could still be done. Okay, so now we have. Oh, wait! Before we send that queen back again, can we make sure that she's not? So yeah, if you sort of, I'm trouble is now black sort of does have d4 ideas, probably.
Hello, a smiley face. Is AlphaZero real or just a strategy to catch cheaters? Wow.
What a question.
Yeah, there are lots of things to answer that. But it's not kind of released commercially anyway, so probably can't be used to catch cheaters in that way. Yeah, but Leela was people have trained up Leela just like AlphaZero was, and has become very, very strong as well.
This is. Do you have any idea what's going on here, Natasha?
Here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not immediately obvious to me where a massive compensation is coming from for white.
For white.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you kind of think, oh yeah, this bishop coming in here and stuff, but these can. I feel like these pawns will be able to block it if they need to.
Well, I mean, if you just played rook c1 and the queen goes back, then maybe some h4 or something, but it doesn't look very scary. None of it looks very scary. I can't see any way, in terms of throwing pieces into a position and making sure they can come out again. The queen seems to have a pretty easy route out again. Unless, again, there's some big tactic we're missing.
Yeah, so white
doesn't feel like a roaring opening success for white to me.
Yeah, white's given up a pawn, and it probably doesn't have enough, I guess.
Well, that's my suspicion, yeah. And that's probably what David Eggleston would claim about the position as well.
Yes. Okay, so we've just got a few more moves on the board here, and Peter Lodge tries to bring in his knight, because we thought earlier on white did have the sort of compensation because all black's pieces were a bit loose, but they seem to be.
They've regained some harmony, haven't they, really?
Yeah. So rook, he's just dropped his rook
Okay,
back.
I wasn't sure that rook c7 wasn't possible, which feels. But okay, you're just defending the rook, and you keep an eye on the a pawn as well, which makes some sense.
Yeah. Here.
Yeah, no, if he's reduced to moves like rook d1, then I think this is not what he was after, probably.
And this is where they're at. Oh, yes, this is now where they're at.
Okay.
And so yeah, black looks pawn up and looks comfortable.
Yeah. I guess that knight c1, he has ideas of trying to bring the knight over to hassle the queen somehow, but it doesn't. Again, I'd be surprised if it was more than inconvenient for white.
Oh, Blue Grey Haze is saying my on-screen text is too small to read. So, I do have a link to Lead Chess. Let me just put that in.
It is a bit small, it's true.
Chat. So there's that, and then if I make us I'll make us smaller.
That'll be popular, probably.
There we go. That's us smaller, and the board is bigger.
I think that's prioritizing things correctly, really.
Yes.
By the way, it's interesting that it's still giving 0-0 given the board 13 questions, no?
Well, the 0-0 is me, right? I do that.
No, that's you. Sorry, you're the 0-0.
So
okay.
It's just I'm not sure what happened.
No, I think I'm very confused by all that.
Blue Grey Haze, do you happen to know whether that result on board 13 is genuine? Because I'll add it to the running total if so. Okay. So now
yeah, having sung Peter Large's praises,
yeah,
we don't really like his position all that much.
Yeah, no, we jinxed him.
I did a bit. Sorry about that, Pete.
Yeah. So we had a request for Ashley Stewart. So let's just pop in there. That's board 9. And so Matthew Forster White against Ashley Stewart black. Well, now look at these knights in the center, Peter. That looks all very exciting.
It does. It's very curious. So, just counting the pawns. Got to start with the basics. That all looks fairly...
That all looks like 7 all in the pawn.
So white's just declined an exchange of knights, which you sort of have to do on aesthetic grounds, right? Because having all these knights is quite appealing. So he's got knight f3 to e5, declining an exchange.
The next question I've got is do I think Karpov lost to 13-year-old Magnus on purpose?
Karpov?
I cannot imagine that he would have lost to 13-year-old Magnus on purpose.
What's the argument? Why do people think he might have lost on purpose?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just curious. I imagine the question is based on some rumors or some suspicion or something.
He must have played a very, very bad move, I suppose. Yeah. I'm afraid I don't think it was on purpose, because I just don't think he'd want. I can't see why. It's like these politicians betting on themselves. You think he was betting or something? I honestly don't. Okay, board 13. Board 13 was 1-0. Okay. Do you know the thanks to the followers? Do you know the story behind it? Did someone's phone go off or something like that? Because it seemed to us too early for anybody to actually resign. I'm going to clock it up then.
You mean?
And so that was, I think, Chris Briscoe's Surrey, isn't he? So it was Northumberland. So I'm going to clock that up. But if people, I'm not 100% sure about this, but okay, let's say 1-0. Okay.
That's very strange.
Fine. All right, so here we go. We've got a 4 knights right in the middle position for, well, both Matthew Forster and Ashley Stewart.
I think I mean, my sort of gut feeling on seeing this is that I kind of think I like Ashley Stewart's position in many ways. I guess that the crux of the matter would be if that knight could be booted out of d4.
This one looks nice, doesn't it?
Yeah, I guess you'd want to kick it away, no? So having gone knight e5, you're probably aspiring to play some
Kick
e3.
away like that? E3.
I don't know. I'm trying to work out whether black has mileage in kicking the e5 knight out before the d4 one gets kicked out. So whether f6 is also on the table, but
it's like f6 here. And maybe they drop back that way.
Maybe. And h5 then? Oh, then you got knight takes f6 twice and bishop takes b7.
Oh, no, because this is actually defended by the queen.
No, but you could take on it after knight g4.
Oh, yeah.
h5, you could take twice on f6 and then b7.
Yeah. You can't do it, can you?
But, well, I don't think you can.
I think this is good for white because you do that.
I was just noting that moves like knight e3 are legal here because white can't take it, but because they'd lose their queen to a knight f5 check. But I do think it's all a bit in the realm of fantasy. Okay, I think that probably has very little relevance to what's going to happen.
Yeah, so black shouldn't just do this f6.
Well, I didn't really. I underestimated knight g4. I mean, presumably black. No, I don't know. It's a very odd position. It's quite difficult to.
Because I suppose white's actually threatening knight f6 and that trick on the b7.
Well, I don't think they really are, because I think knight e3 at the end of that line, based on the same queen being on prise, would be quite awkward. That's where I got the idea from. I had these kind of feelings that knight e3 was quite a nice move to be able to play.
Oh, so sorry, Peter.
So knight f6 check, queen takes.
I can't. I don't think I can play this because it's
okay. So I'll make some move like go a6 or something. I don't know.
A6. Right, let's try it. So here,
knight f6, queen f6, bishop b7. There's always going to be a move like knight e3. Oh wait, no, the knight's still. Sorry, I'm hallucinating. I didn't get a lot of sleep last
You can take, yeah.
No, sorry, you can take. I was imagining that E5 knight had gone as it had in the other variation. Yeah, okay. In that case, it doesn't feel to me like a threat. It feels to me like a position where I like the knights more than the bishop.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
but it is a possibility. Yeah, it's not out of the question. So, well, I mean, let's just check F6 knight G4 again, because it does look like a sort of. I mean, it isn't the most obvious circuit for that knight in the world. So let's say we did something which means there won't be bishop takes b7 at the end.
Or like bishop takes knight.
Well, that's a bit drastic. I meant something more kind of like defending it or something. I don't know. Rook d7. Well, I mean, that's possible. Let's try rook d7 just because it's slightly less undeveloping than rook bishop a8.
Okay.
I just wonder whether at some point I'm actually then just threatening h5 or something and just sending them away.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, now I'm threatening h5 because if you just drop back to e3, I'd take and go f5, and I'm skewering pinning a whatnot, yeah, winning some material.
Okay. So what if I go e3?
You said that in a rather combative sort of way. That's probably true. Well, then I thought, yeah, that's maybe. I'm very confused by this position. I sort of think then I ought to be able to go h5 anyway, but it's true that the tactics might work for you. Not rook d7. I don't know. I'm really confused by this position. Put that horse back on e5. I have no idea what black should do. But my gut feeling is that I like black's knights feel slightly more stable than white's, but that might be absolutely just prejudice. It may be there's no such thing going on. I mean, if we played. No, all my suggestions in this position are just awful. I don't understand it at all.
It's tricky.
Yeah, but I normally like weird positions, but I just don't feel this one at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so is e3 actually sort of a threat? It is, isn't it? e3 is a proper threat, probably.
Because if you go, if white goes e3, black, say black just wants to drop back a knight, then that would be knight c6.
But then we can take knight c6 and we're winning a piece, because if you take the queen, I take back with the knight and then c6 is covered. And if you don't, then there's knight f6 check and bishop takes. So it's e3 sort of a threat.
Oh, golly. I see what you mean with the knight e7. Oh, no, it doesn't work because there's a knight on f5 defending e7.
So, knight e7. So e3.
So say a6, just so we can try it out. e3, knight here.
Okay, then knight takes c6.
Knight takes c6, queen takes c3.
Yeah, then we just have knight takes c3 and we're defending c6.
Okay. Yeah, that's easier.
That is easier.
Yeah. All right. So you can't do that.
And you can't take on c6. So yes. I assume that g5 is too risky here, but I keep thinking about
g5.
No, don't even announce it.
G5. Well, you take it. Oh, I don't know. No, because then they take here.
Well, I was going to take there and go f6 and hope there's no. My main worry about g5 is the open g file, which it seems to me could end in catastrophe. But
yes.
On the other hand, if you played rook g1 here, can I go g4 just to take that square away from your knight and then try and go f6? I don't know. I'm just illustrating that I have no sense of what's going on at all. But
Lugo Hayes is saying Susan Lalich and David Walker are siblings. I didn't realise that. I've known them both for years.
Whoa, hang on a minute.
Is it true? Are they actually siblings?
That's a bit revolutionary.
Now we're in shock.
I think I've played him on occasions without making that connection.
I know them both really well. I feel like. Oh, no, I never knew they were. I think this whole. Do you find as time goes on, and you're less and less sure what things are actually true and what aren't true?
Well, that's sort of kind of the world we live in now, isn't it?
It's the world we live in. Yeah. Okay.
People,
He's pretty sure. So
people
he's normally
start
pretty
rumors on social media like so and so is
reliable
a sibling, and how do you know?
Susan, when I next see her, which will be on Tuesday.
By the way, if a smiley face is E3 is an answer to my G5, then I wanted to go G takes F4.
Oh, E3 here.
And hoped that was something I'd actually seen correctly.
And you're going to take there?
I think I am.
All right, fine. I'm going to...
Again, you're sounding worryingly confident. Then I'm just going to take on D4 with the pawn and hope I can take on E5.
Are you taking there?
Yeah.
There
you go. I was a man with a plan.
You've got a plan, which you have.
Such as it is.
That's a good one. That seems to.
Maybe.
All right, fine. Well, that seems to work. So G5 E3. So then you're taking there. All right. Yeah. All right. Then what if I just recap?
Well, but poor guy, we don't even know for sure that this was what he meant. But it's possible that G takes F4.
G takes F4 like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That looks fine.
Yes.
And then rook G1.
Well, that would be the worry. No, okay. Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's true. I really am struggling with this position.
Yeah. All right. Let's move to a different one because we don't understand.
I have not the slightest idea what's going on there. Let's leave that.
All right. So
I'm still slightly sort of recovering from them being siblings. Is that?
Yeah. No. Well, now, like one of the siblings is.
But it makes a lot of sense now. It's mentioned.
It's possible, isn't it? I know she used to be called Walker, so.
Well, no, I had that much covered.
Yeah.
in my concern, yeah, no.
That one is a draw. So I think that one. Then, if that's a draw, I think Tim will probably join. You know, he'll join in the chat, won't he?
Oh gosh, that's a draw. Okay, let's see that quickly then, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to see it all?
Here. Okay. So sorry. Here.
Well, sit here. Yes, let's sit here. So another one with the bishop coming in.
Oh, have they done? So they've just done some sort of bishop F5, bishop C4.
Let's see it from here. Okay, so Susan went F3, bishop B6, takes, and knight F4.
Right. And now she wants to trade. Yeah, she's giving a check and wants to trade bishops. And he's going to say no.
Not exactly no. Well, yeah. No to the bishops, but yes to the draw, it looks like.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a no to the bishops might be the...
Okay. Well, I'm going to chalk that one up as a draw then, because
yeah, no, I think it's absolutely right that white should want to change bishops and that black should not want to.
Yeah.
Whether that's true to the... They're not
siblings. Thanks for the follow, Olikana. It's saying Susan and David are not siblings. This is controversial now. Now no one knows.
It's now the question of the
I think
that was very definitive.
Say again.
Well, there's no... They're probably not siblings or something like that about that. It's very definitive, isn't it? It's very...
Yeah.
Confident.
I mean, I would feel like I would have known that if they were, but... Okay. Anyway,
and if 64 relates to the year of birth, then probably they're going to know what they're talking about. Although I was born in 65 and I clearly don't know what I'm talking about, but that's another one.
Yeah, and Blue Grey Hayes is 67, so he was born in, I don't know, I can't really do it.
Yeah, no, the plot thickens.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I find this variation very confusing. Black seems to. I've seen this pawn on h3 answered by g3. I've seen it sometimes taken in some circumstances.
Olikana's been friends with David for nearly 50 years. There you go.
That's a reasonable.
Yeah.
That's a reasonable bet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, that's good. But let's go on.
But Susan did have a brother who played, so
yes, yeah, he did. She does. Okay, let's see. I was going to try for David Walker against Akshaya.
Okay.
Here we go. And so Akshaya's black in this position, David Walker white. And
okay, so
for me, it feels a little bit loose for white, these ones.
I think they are. I think that, if white could play rook EB1 without any tactical difficulties, then I'd probably start talking about, slight pull on the light squares and blah, blah, blah. But I think if white plays rook EB1, black's going B5 and taking advantage of various pins.
Oh, there's a pin down the C file for sure.
And that is a very desirable pawn break if black can get that in.
Yeah.
That gives him a lot more. No, her. Sorry, it's Akshaya's black, isn't she? Sorry. Yeah.
White.
It gives Akshaya a lot more counterplay than she would have had in any other scenario, I think.
Yes.
So it may be that Queen A4 was quite a hit.
Ugoi. We need a Springer style DNA test to sort it out.
Yes. I was happy to go with the I've been friends with David for nearly 50 years. That seemed pretty convincing to me.
No, I think we need proof.
We need proof. Oh dear. Okay, well, B5 is strong, yeah? There's no doubt about that.
That looks nice, yeah.
That is what Akshaya has in mind, I'm sure.
Yes, and this move has actually been played.
Oh, has it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I'm predicting
you can tell
B5.
it's got the red box around it.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't. I'm predicting B5 will be quite annoying for white unless I've missed something.
We'll play B5.
Okay, but there's more going on here because
she needs to do a DNA test.
Yeah. Is there some G4 in the position?
Okay, G4. Oh, so B5, G4, yeah?
Well, yeah, I mean, it would have to be then, I suppose. I'm trying to find a way to make this work for white. I'm not enthusiastic exactly.
So
I think it's
going to do that, can't you?
Oh god, there's even knight h4. Oh, in that case, it's going to be horrible. No, I don't want to allow knight h4. Sorry. No. Okay, so then it just looks good for black to me. It looks like b5's a real hit. So what happened in the last few moves? I mean, has David allowed something he didn't need to allow?
All right, I'm going to go from here.
Okay.
So
you see here, I'm still feeling. Well, I mean, there's a sort of slightly weak e3 square, but in general, I'm feeling like white may get somewhere on the light squares if nothing goes wrong. Yeah?
Yeah. Or like bring this knight round, perhaps somewhere.
Well, just double on the b file and put the queen on
okay.
f3 or something. You could do it by just asking some questions about the b7 pawn, and yeah, e4 is not a bad square for the knight. Black needs some fairly concrete counterplay, I think. Rook takes queen a7. That's interesting. So maybe she's trying to keep her eye on on a knight e3 check if she needs it or something. Knight e4 then maybe.
She's trying to come in on a4 as well, isn't she?
Yeah, I don't like queen. I think queen f3 could very well be a big mistake. It feels to me like you should go rook b1 now, unless there's a good reason not to, because then you're not going to have these tactics with a loose knight on c2.
Yeah.
Actually, you could have tactics with a loose knight on c2 because after rook b1, black could play No, they can't. Probably. I'm thinking still Queen A4 with some taking C2 and having a fork on E3, but Rook B1 surely instead of Queen F3 feels better. Because also I might want the knight on F3 rather than the queen if it threatens knight E5 or something. And I think
come around here, sort of thing.
No, the other knight. I don't want to bring that one's got to defend E3. I want
one.
the E4 one maybe coming to F. And I'm conscious of the fact that black can never play F6 to keep it out. So
yeah.
And if it gets to E5, it's a sort of semi-outpost because black doesn't want to play F6. It's going to.
Okay, so this
Queen F3, I think, is where it all went wrong because now tactically everything works for Akshar.
Okay.
Although even here, surely you try Rook B1.
He. David went.
That looks to me like somebody who maybe was preparing to play G4, despite
G4.
But there's not going to be time.
I
think this is just it's kind of a serious tactical mistake, I think.
Right, yeah, because this looks good, doesn't it? Queen.
It looks very good for Akshar now because B5 just looks like such a strong break.
Yeah. Okay.
I was trying to see if there were any kind of ways where you could. No, I don't think you can sack a piece, and so I don't really see a way of dealing with this.
Pot Jam Knight, we don't know what happened on board 13. It was a strange opening, but then they got to a sensible position, and then it's got a 1-0 on it, so we don't actually know. So we've counted it in the score for now, and we will see if that proves to be right. Now, what we didn't look at Gwilym against Max. So let's have a look at that. Oh, here we go. And so black's actually just taken on the long diagonal this pawn on B2.
Max, by the way, is now one of my White Rose teammates.
Excellent. They're both young players, right?
They are. They're both young players. I've had a bit of a.
Because I think Gwilym had something
against Gwilym actually
recently as well.
I lost Gwilym in the first round of the British 2 years ago, and it kind of wrecked my whole week, my whole tournament. I think.
I'm sorry to hear that.
No, but I was kind of, he plays this rather quirky line in E4, E5, and I kind of prepared thinking, surely he's not going to do that when you've got time to prepare. It doesn't really. And then he played it anyway and found an improvement on all my preparation, and I got a horrible position. And I kind of thought, actually, the guy goes his own way in quite interesting, intelligent ways. I think he's quite. I was kind of impressed.
Yeah.
As you often are when people beat you in the first round of tournaments. This looks.
It's quite nice, isn't it, to have taken this pawn? The only thing is, this is
glorious. What's going on? So why has this been allowed? Can we see the last few moves? Because it's quite.
Yeah.
It looks like it looks like we've entered at the end of a series of moves somehow.
So, okay. So bishop E3, F5.
Yes.
Queen here.
By the way, it already looked to me like a fairly healthy Benoni for black, but
yeah.
F4, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I mean it's F4 is one of those moves that I'm often quite wary of when I'm white, and then you look at games afterwards and the engine is often less impressed. But this one looks quite good to me. Because if white takes, it's going to be moderately hard to defend that F4 pawn, and black's going to get, and white's pieces are going to get a bit tied up trying to defend it. And you can't ignore this one, can you? You've got to do something.
It's just saying the player with the black pieces on board 13 left the playing venue without authorization.
Okay.
Okay, so it's not exactly a default because they played some moves, but it's counts as he's lost.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
There are different possible meanings of left the venue. I mean, it's possible, I think, sometimes to just, if you're not very clear where the playing area is, you could wander out of the playing area by mistake with that. And if you had a very strict arbiter, that might be it. On the other hand, I once played I think he was a postman in a tournament in Denmark, and I don't know if I was thinking for too long in the opening, but I think he went and did his postal round during the game.
Did you really?
He basically disappeared for like 45 minutes or something, and the organisers got a bit annoyed with this and defaulted him. But I also know someone who went off and played a football match during a game, and he got away with it.
Yeah.
Possibly because he had something to do with the organisation of the tournament. Anyway,
Yeah.
I think the rules are stricter these days. Is probably
They're much stricter than they used to be. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think all of these things that I mentioned would not happen these days.
Yeah.
So G takes Queen H4. Is that how it went?
That's yes.
Yeah, I like Black's position quite a lot here. I think it's just such potential dark square turmoil for White. That
so the pawn on F4 is being threatened.
Yeah, I mean, if it drops, then Black just has a position where all the black squares look like they're his, and if it's defended, then it's going to require quite a lot of investment to sort of defend it, isn't it? In terms of
Yeah.
Serious like the queen will be tied down to defending it.
Yeah, because the queen. Yeah, he did Queen F3 to defend.
But even like Rook F8, what's White's next move? I don't know.
So again, if Rook F8.
Well, even Rook F8, I'm wondering what the next move will be. I mean, I'm guessing from the position we saw that he did something else. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, because if you defend with Knight E2, then the B2 pawn's on still.
Exactly. Yes. Or is that what we actually? Well, I can't remember what we saw at the beginning.
What actually happened was, Rook F8.
Yeah, it was Rook F8. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you sort of feel like you have to defend F2, but it comes at F4, but it comes at quite a price. No pun intended. Sorry.
A Gwilym price.
Oh no!
What?
Really, no pun was intended, but no one will believe that now. I mean, it's not entirely clear to me why, if Rook A2, you can't go Bishop E5, and that.
Okay, so if I suppose this will be the move. He's had a bit of a.
I'm not so sure actually, because it might be that you desperately need a developing move, and you're happy to give the exchange to try and make some mess. To put it into John Spielman sort of language, you just want to make a big mess. But I just think it just doesn't look very promising to me.
Yeah, but this queen's a bit, because I was saying this one's a bit stuck, but this one is because.
Yeah, it feels to me like the one on H4 is tying down White's, and Black's one has an option to move elsewhere. I mean, it might then liberate White's, but
because I'm just thinking, even if you do give up the exchange, right? How are you doing it? So say you, like that one maybe.
By the way, I might want to make it clear. I'm saying this with no enthusiasm whatsoever for White's position, but
that's your teammate you're talking about.
I'm a bit. I haven't seen him get a bad position like that. I mean, he's a pretty impressive teammate in many ways.
Yeah.
He's part of this very strong group of players at Warwick University at the moment. Right? And they've
got such a good chess club there.
They've got a very good chess club, yeah, and he's a big part of all that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been aware of him for several years. He had a very high rating for a kind of 15-year-old or whatever a few years ago.
I think he might have played. I think he played in my foreign sale team before, like when we had some junior.
I mean, I've had crazy games against him. I think I haven't lost and I have won one, but I failed to win one where I was a queen for a couple of pieces up. Sounds a bit like my game against Mark Hebden the other week, but I'm not exactly making a habit of failing to convert queens, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And he's a big fighter actually.
So.
Yeah. Okay. I don't like this, but I'm thinking Rook A2 can Black just play Bishop E5 and take.
Yeah.
F4 anyway.
Okay, Bishop E5 like that.
Well, it's certainly what I would look at first, because what White was desperately, the reason all White's pieces are misplaced is to defend F4. So if they can't even do that at the end of it, it's kind of worrying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we like this for Black.
I think we like this for Gwilym quite a lot. Yeah.
All right, so that's Gwilym. We've done Akshaya. Let's do Andrew Burnett and Nigel Povar.
My word.
This is a big battle of the seniors because Nigel represents England and Andrew represents Scotland.
Indeed.
And the next event is starting in. We did short specimen XD. We did Ashley Stewart. We did that just a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah, we did. You have done Ashley Stewart.
Yeah.
Oh, so, that's the game where I didn't understand anything. Maybe it's legitimate to say we haven't done it because I didn't say anything.
We didn't give you an answer. That's
no. I certainly didn't get it. I can give you an answer on this. This looks absolutely awful for Andrew Burnett.
Looks awful for black. What? Because we're going to get some kind of thing like that.
Well, we're threatening Queen H5 mating.
Yeah.
And
well, black has a move to try and.
Never has a move been more needed, I would have thought. I mean, Andrew Burnett's somebody I've played a couple of times recently. He's very nice to me on Twitter.
That's good.
He's a thoroughly good guy, and every time I play him, he plays white and he plays pretty well, and I've done okay, but it's been quite tough. This is a horrible position he's got here.
Because it's like that.
Well, Queen H5, I mean, it's almost the only move to stop Queen H5, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
But so here, my first question would be, if you go Bishop F7 check, King F8, Bishop takes G8 check, King takes Queen F3, and then castle long or something, aren't you just mating in a few moves?
Scary, doesn't it?
I would have thought it's pretty much mate. I mean, if Queen G4 check wasn't prevented, it would be mate already. But I'm just going to take on G8. You have to take with the king, I think. Unless King G7 works by some miracle. And then just Queen F3 and castles next. I mean, it just looks over to me. I find it utterly implausible that black has any defense here.
Oh, Rinked says, isn't Rook F8 mating?
Oh, possibly. Yeah, sorry, it probably is.
Oh, what? Just
I don't feel too bad about not seeing that because I think what I said is also over. But you're absolutely right. This is mating immediately.
This one here.
And this is the main virtue of this is it's much more beautiful. Knight F5.
And then the other one.
No, well, yes, but then Bishop. Okay, Bishop takes D7, wins a piece.
Oh yeah, true.
But that might be
that's good enough. That's good enough.
Okay, but it's okay. We've given up a rook. So actually, after rook, no, let's just see. After rook F8,
is it rook F8 just straight away, right? That's nice, though. That is nice.
Nice idea. So takes Queen F3 check. Knight F5. Let's just check because it's distinctly possible. Wait. There may be some other moves
instead of Knight F5.
No, some other move for white after Knight F5.
But I mean, this one just wins a piece, doesn't it?
Yeah, but we are a rook down, so it may still be.
Oh, right, okay.
Not 100%. I mean, we're at the exchange down, but after Queen takes F5, Knight F6.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, it's good enough for white, but actually, I don't think it's as good as what I was suggesting if it only gets 2 pieces against a rook. I was expecting it to get more.
Can we castle long?
Well, yeah, you can, and probably will. But are you not going to even bother to take my piece first?
No, I'll take the piece first.
Very rude. Okay, I'll go rook takes H4 just to. Or actually, wait a minute. Can I go rook 8? No, I can't go rook. I'll just go rook takes H4 and hope for the best.
Yeah.
Certainly, whatever black does here, hoping for the best will be forming part of his strategy.
All right, castle long.
Okay, then I'm going to rook F4 and grovel a bit.
Okay.
And say I'm no longer losing that piece.
Yeah, but you're still losing. Look.
Well, Queen takes D7. I'm now.
Oh no! All right.
The first time I have a position I like.
Okay, stop. Okay. So this isn't that clear then.
I don't think it's as. I mean, unless we've missed something. I don't think it's as clear as what I suggested at the beginning, probably.
Yeah.
But there is no doubt that black's position is essentially pretty awful.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Andrew Burnett's in no doubt about that either.
Bishop
F7 and Bishop takes G8 check just looks so clear to me. It's almost impossible that's not just winning very quickly. And yeah, no, it's a nasty. I mean, so he played some kind of one of those things where black just tries to go c5 and e5, blocking the center as quickly as possible. And when they work, they look quite good sometimes. But
which is one of these teams a clear favourite on paper?
I don't know. I'm seeing there's a lot of interesting players on both sides.
Right, I'm going to keep moving down.
I'm really not sure.
So Mark Joss against Graham Oswald. So in fact, Graham Oswald is white for Northumberland here.
So this looks like a sort of some kind of fairly typical Najdorf, I would guess. That thing where an F pawn gets traded for the E pawn on E5, and then you don't get the.
So now black's one more pawn, right?
Has he? I thought. Oh yeah, okay. Sorry, I needed to start with the old counting again. So he's lost the A4 pawn. So that's So he's a pawn up. So, and he's retreating with his gains. Yeah, sorry, I was starting to ramble meaninglessly, and white is just a pawn down, which is not ideal.
Well, perhaps this knight comes somewhere, right? Like. Will there be commentary for the next few live boards of the Minor Counties final next weekend? I don't know the answer to that, Rinked, but I know that it won't be me doing any if it is, because I'm away at the World Seniors by next weekend.
Oh, well, of course, yeah. And yes. I can vouch for it not being me doing any, because I will be playing the South Wales International. So.
Good luck in that.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, I'm trying to see if white has any possible compensation for a pawn, really, but I guess one way to get compensation would be to try and sort of sack an exchange on F6 or something. Rook F4, take F6, but I don't believe it.
You're in quite a sacrificial mood today, Peter.
I usually am. I prefer to give the stuff away if I can. Which actually I find quite easy to do sometimes. Well, I mean, it's a bit worried about. Otherwise, white can get a bit tied down defending d5. I mean, if black just comes to the e file and nothing bad happens, then I'd be worried about rook ce8 next move. I think just clarifying that the e file is black's. So I'd want to do something about that. I don't know exactly what. I mean, it's possible if I went rook f4, rook ca8 is still a good move.
What about this bringing the knight in, though? Because then that...
Well, yeah, no, that might be a better idea. I was thinking maybe rook f5, but it is a little awkwardly placed on f5. So, yeah, let's go knight d3. That makes sense. That's kind of... That was kind of my default move, and I was trying to find something else. But I think you're right. It's probably the best way to do it. Rookies... I don't know. It's one of those tricky ones. Part of me wants to go rook f5, and part of me thinks if I go rook f5, it's going to become misplaced quite quickly. Just queen g3 or that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a bit silly. On the other hand, I could try, I might be able to go h6 and rook g5, and h4 is a bit of a weakening for white. So it's hard to be sure. But, I mean, something like rook e7 instead made some sense too.
And they might be able to take on...
Oh, now you can take on d5. Sorry, I think I saw that earlier and then I forgot about it. That was what worried me initially. That's right. That's what was putting me off knight d3 at one point, that we might lose another pawn.
Yeah.
Rook takes d5. There are no tricks there, are there, really? Nothing substantial.
Nothing good enough.
No, exactly.
Okay, so that one we think looks nice for black just because of that.
Yeah, but I think white can probably, in that case, white should try something different than knight d3. Yeah, no, black's a pawn up, and the compensation will be less than a full pawn. I'm pretty certain.
Yeah,
I was trying to see how to make the best of it, but I imagine a4 dropping is not what Graham Oswald had intended.
Well, I'm going on to the next one. This one is Chris Baker. as
Oh,
white
wow.
against Andrew Dunn. Looks
Another
like
man who was playing in the over 65 seniors and playing quite well, I think.
Chris, yeah.
Yeah, he's been playing quite well in his 60s as well. I get the feeling.
For sure.
But I think I kind of like black more here because I think black's going to play on the dark squares by playing d4 at some point.
White's the one with the extra pawn this time.
I haven't actually counted the pawn. I've fallen for the old not counting the pawns trick again. Okay, that makes more sense because white's position is quite ugly. It makes sense if it's ugly because it's compensation for a pawn.
Yeah.
That sort of that's fair enough. Okay, so if I'm black here, I mean moves like rook c8 makes sense, but positionally d4 is the move I want to play, right?
Mm.
I want to mess up white's structure and try and end up with the white bishop, having too many pawns on white squares or just feeling a little bit like it can't defend the dark squares, which it can't, by the way. They never can. So the question is, can white stop that in some way?
To stop d4.
Well, I mean, if h3 wasn't, if h3 wasn't on pre's, white would castle and meet d4 with rook d1, but queen h3 is there, so it's a problem. And my first thought had been that white would play something like queen b2 and then black would go d4 anyway, because after queen takes rook d8, you're winning back d4, and that's positionally very nice. But it's all a little bit different if white is, a position like this.
Just like rook d8 there, like
then
that.
I guess I go bishop c4, rook d4, king e2, and the assessment is rather different if black's a pawn down than what it would have been.
Yeah.
It's kind of not that clear that black has compensation for a pawn if white's coming rook d1 next. With that bishop's actually rather a good piece on c4 now. So the fact that black is a pawn down has all changed things for me a little bit.
Yeah, it can do that.
It can do, yeah. It was funny how often counting the material correctly aids your assessment making.
Yeah.
Queen b2 looks like a plausible move to me in that case.
Right, just restraining that.
Well, and hitting the knight. So see what black will do about that as well.
Yeah.
It still feels, the logical response to me still feels to be to go d4, but it's just not what I thought it was when I'd miscounted the stuff. So no, I think black would prefer to keep queens on, so I might go. The thing is, if I go queen e6, maybe white can castle them, because if queen h3, queen takes f6. So.
Yeah.
Queen e6 isn't the square I want to be on anyway. I want to be on a dark square, really.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I think it's probably some compensation, but maybe not quite enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, the king position does look a bit drafty, so definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, they're talking about another game, actually. Okay.
All right. So this is Ashley Stewart. Now
we return to Ashley Stewart by.
We return to Ashley Stewart. It's clarified because we had it. Wait, we had it with all the knights in the middle.
Yeah, we had it with knight e5 now. Oh, that's
here.
even further back than we had.
This is where we had it.
We had it here, yeah. We were looking at f6, but we didn't know what move after knight g4.
Yeah. So he did actually take this one.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. He probably just thought there were too many knights to calculate as well.
There was too many knights. It was too hard to calculate. So here, come back. There. That's where it is. Because actually,
that was sort of not reasonably sensible, but slightly unambitious by black. I thought there might be. But on the other hand, he's not fallen for any of the many traps that I was falling for, so maybe it makes a lot of sense.
But actually, a knight's all right in this position, isn't it? Oh, what do you prefer, a knight or a bishop?
In this position?
Yeah. Knight looks all right to me.
I mean, the knight sort of looks nice, but if it goes, if it goes to d4 and then I can keep my bishop, and then I just kick it with e3, it's a bit struggling for places to go.
Yeah.
It might go back to f5 again, but. Yeah, it's a tricky one. I'm not certain. I can't see a obvious pawn break for black. apart from my G5 move, which I rightly lost confidence in. So I don't know. I mean, I sort of understand it better now, but still don't really understand it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's look at Marcus Osborne for Surrey against Zheming Zhang for North.
This is why I think this match is so impressive. I mean, people like Marcus Osborne, I've played them in the past, and they've always, he's always put up a tough fight, and he's down on board 10. I'm kind of quite impressed by that kind of thing. I think I'm really impressed by the quality of these teams.
Yeah. Because they will have travelled, like it's just one game a day, isn't it? And they'll have travelled
Yes.
quite far to...
That's a very interesting moment. Why, what's black after here if white just goes queen takes?
Queen takes c4.
It looks like he's going... Well, first thought was he's going for 95, but it just doesn't work.
Why not?
Because you take on d8, I think.
Take on d8.
Take on e8 and then win back the queen with rook f8.
Oh god, rook f8.
Oh no, it's actually mate. You don't need to win back the queen. You can mate.
That's horrendous.
That is horrendous. That's not what's going to happen.
No.
But my first thought is that the tactic looks a bit odd because the move it appears to be preparing loses by 4.
Knight c4. So you don't go knight e5. You can't.
By the way, looking at the position, we should say it's just possible that this is happening because white was doing very well anyway. It may well be this was black's best chance in a shaky position, because I think that initial position, if black didn't go c4, well, things like f takes e6, queen takes, and then just rook d1 horrendously pinning was threatened, I think. So I think black was in some need of resources. It may be that they can go knight b6, rook takes d8, queen takes d8. Is that a better way of doing it?
Maybe.
Ooh, so, in that case, can you can't go queen takes e6 check, can you?
No.
Okay. Well, that was definitive. Well, you can't, no, you can't. Because they take and go knight c8 or d5 or something. I don't know.
We're worrying
I'm threatening e7 and mate. That was the idea.
Yeah.
If I could play e7, it would certainly work, but I guess knight c8 might work for black.
Knight c8.
Well, I think as a creative idea, it deserves slightly better than just no. I think you could almost do it. It's a bit harsh. Yeah, that does seem to be good for black, but okay. It wasn't my queen, so I gave it away rather lightly. So the queen takes e4. In that case, maybe the c4 move does make sense. I guess he's intending knight b6 takes, rook takes d8, queen takes.
So knight b6.
Yeah.
Takes.
And then queen
okay,
takes.
But you don't need to give your queen away at this point. You can
no, I think I might keep the queen and go queen takes e4. I see. No, it's probably maybe better to keep the. Well, then I guess I try. Because there's mate on f8 in lots of lines. Yeah, queen b3 might be a good move.
So just queen back or...
Yeah, I was thinking queen d5, but we just play f takes e6 because black can't take on e6. Which is kind of a nice touch. Is that true?
So here, and you can't take with that because
you can't take with anything because you're getting mated on e8 anyway.
Yeah.
On f8, I mean, sorry. But you also don't, you can't really do anything else either.
Yeah, so this is good for white.
I think that's fairly clear cut.
I suppose you could take the queen.
You could. And then you've tidied up our weaknesses.
You still can't take.
You still can't take. I mean, you have to, and I'm going e7 next, probably.
Yeah, I like it for white.
You could try knight d5. That might be the last attempt to make
knight d5.
A chess move, because then if c4, you can go knight f6, blocking the f file, and then you can take on e6.
Okay.
Well, I think I almost talked some sense
there.
Rook f7, maybe? Is that a move?
Rook f7.
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to get the other side of knight f6, in a sense. And now I just want to mop up on. If you play knight f6 anyway, I want to mop up on the 6th rank. So 7th rank. I'm just going to take your pawns. Rook takes c7. I don't see a problem there. I think white's clearly better there. And if you take on c3, that might be more interesting, because against any other move, I could have played.
So you're just kind of here.
Yeah, and now I had the clever idea to go. It wasn't so clever, but it seemed good at the time. I wanted to go bishop b2, skewering the knight against the thingamajig, and also if knight takes e2 check, I'm going to trap it with king f2. That's almost a coherent piece of analysis, but
yeah, but
I'm feeling rook takes e6. Then I wanted to go rook takes c7, maybe with the same kind of issues.
Okay.
Stopping rook c6, crucially.
Right. Yeah.
I sort of have a feeling something won't work for some reason, but that looks decent, actually. Okay, so I think it doesn't change the assessment we had at the beginning that white's doing pretty well.
It's a looking good point. Okay.
So that's Marcus Osborne White, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now let us see.
Oh, wow.
Paul Dargan, White for Northumberland. Excuse me. Excuse me. Against Danby Look for
that looks like the end of the game to me, unless there's some resource we've overlooked.
For what? For who's end of the game in what sense?
Isn't White about to mate on g7?
Yeah, I was just
aided by the fact that they're a rook ahead.
And there's no back rank
because of rook e1. Yeah, but White does seem to be a rook ahead, which rather clarifies any doubt I had about the.
Yeah.
I didn't have any doubt anyway, but that's definitely game over.
So that is going to be a win for Paul Dargan, we think.
Yes.
Yes, I can't see anything.
No, that's definitely.
Okay, but I can't chalk it up until it's.
No, of course. It would be very presumptuous.
Yeah. All right. Phil Brooks for Surrey against Nathan Ekanam.
I'm going to start this one, as I should have done before, by counting the material. Because I feel like it may be quite a salient thing.
Yeah, because Black's got more. Oh, White's got more rooks and Black's got more knights.
Yeah, but they've got the same amount of disparity. So I think White is the exchange up.
For a pawn.
What?
For a pawn?
White is the exchange up and a pawn.
And a pawn.
And a pawn, not for a pawn.
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
However, it's Black's move.
Yes.
And they can kick off by...
There's things happening on c3 potentially.
Taking stuff.
They're taking on c3. Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering even if there was some move you could play first to make sure that taking on c3 would gather the exchange, but I think there's probably not. But you see what I mean? I mean, sort of.
Well, like move the knight.
Yeah, like somewhere with check maybe, but.
Or knight f3 check.
Yeah, but I think White can just go king f1 then.
Yeah.
I don't think, because obviously you can take on c3 and then move the knight, but I'm not sure it's going to make a huge difference. So has Black got any?
So the other places you could maybe put the knight on c4.
Yeah, I'm sort of assuming castles might be legal.
Oh, we can try that out. Look here and just see if it lets us.
Yeah. Castles is legal.
Yeah.
Which is pretty bad news for Black after knight c4, I imagine, because we're threatening to take on c4 and d6.
Yeah.
Let's try queen takes c3 check and see where it leads. So check, king f1. And now we need some big move, because otherwise White is the exchange up with. Mind you, okay, so the
what about now knight c4?
Yeah, that's possible, but still rook c1, and still I want to know where it's.
Okay.
But yeah, it's a possibility. Because obviously now, if they're not check, other knight moves might fail to queen takes d6 check or something. It may be that the best thing to do is to
okay,
use the
okay.
knight
Don't move the knight yet then.
Is
Sort of similar but different. Bishop c4.
Yes, that's just what I was thinking about, actually. That is, I guess that, well, the nice idea, I guess, is that if rook c1, then you get to take on e2 check, and my king is at least awkwardly in the center, although it may be fine, but it looks a bit not like queen b2 check or something. It's not quite what I intended, probably. Although it can come back to, it can go to f1 and g1, so it might just be an optical illusion.
Mm.
I honestly don't
know. Queen c3, that one's been played.
Okay, so king f1 will be played.
That has been played now as well.
Yeah.
So this is where they're at.
I mean, my gut feeling is that black doesn't have enough compensation because their own king is quite weak. You can sort of imagine a scenario where the black king was fairly secure and they had this kind of activity might be quite interesting, but it may be that anyway it wouldn't be enough. But I'm pretty sure with the loose king, unless there's some immediate tactic we're missing, which I don't see.
Yes.
I guess I don't see it because we're missing it.
Okay, Paul
But
Duggan.
my gut feeling is there is no such tactic, and White's doing quite well.
Just going to give you an update. Paul Duggan has won.
Yes, that was.
We thought that was going to happen. So I'm just going to add that he's Northumberland. Oh, there we go. He's Northumberland, isn't he, Paul?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
I'm going to add that on. Once I've remembered how to do it. Yeah. So there we go. 2.5. A good start for Northumberland. I know it's not quite as Surrey fans. It's not quite as bad as all that because we thought there were some along the way where Surrey was looking pretty good, including this one. Actually, we're thinking White's.
Yes.
Black's probably not good enough for that material.
By the way, I noticed that. I mean, there's a bit of a rating disparity with this board. Is it true that Surrey has something of an advantage? You're asking who was the favourite. Could it be that Surrey is the favourite on the lower boards?
Well, let's have a look. So Bob.
By the way, I think if I saw rightly the other day, or if I'm remembering rightly, I had the impression that Northumberland actually pretty much beat Yorkshire on the lower boards.
Yeah.
So it would be interesting.
And no, also right. Look at this. This board's board 15, and actually Northumberland's got a higher rating on that board. So I think because also right, some players if they
then it's just a big mix
for a while, maybe they.
By the way, that position you just looked at, was that very good for White? I couldn't see it.
Oh, which one? Do you want to see?
Well, I think White was winning an exchange. Although there might have been some compensation, but
this one,
not that one. The one that looked like a sort of Benko Gambit or something. Yeah, this Benko Gambity one. Black can't play Rook A6 because of Bishop takes C7, so I think they have to give an exchange.
Oh.
However, there might be ways of getting some decent compensation for it. I don't know. But whatever happens next will need to be a good move, I think.
Black's pieces are all quite together over here, aren't they?
They are. Together in one sense of the word.
So if you go Rook A6, they just go...
Take C7 and then the Rook will hang.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a sec. I mean, it is possible. Wait, Natasha, it is possible to go Rook A6, Rook C8, Bishop takes C7, Rook A6, Bishop takes C7, just Rook C8. And then I think you will at least get the Bishop, but White can take another pawn, which is not really what you want. Is that true? Well, it's true. It's not really what you want. I don't know whether the rest of it was true.
Black played
There
F5.
could be There could be B4 in this position even. F5 is the move I was. If you're going to have to sack the exchange, I thought you might play F5. But the problem with moves like F5 is that when you're losing an exchange, they're opening a bunch of files, which is usually good news for the rooks.
Right.
So although they give some counterplay, which they also create weaknesses like E6, which Black didn't really have before. So I think my assessment of that would be a slight air of desperation about it.
Yes.
So I would take the rook and go queen c2, and if Black takes on e4, take with the queen, and then Black probably has to. I don't know what Black does then, because I thought we were taking with the horsey, but maybe. Okay. Yeah, if he takes with the queen, then I think we can just take on f5, and it's just a fresh weakness. I assumed he was taking with the knight. Then queen c2, and then if he takes on e4, I just take back. And trouble is, if you're going to take on d5 with a knight, you're going to have a fresh problem with some. Oh, maybe knight b d5 is possible. Then that covers the e6 square. That might be, but I still like white because I'm looking at moves like f5, and I'm thinking that if there might be takes and knight e3. I was about to say that you don't want, Black doesn't want to be opening files when white has extra rooks. Yeah. But on the other hand, if I give away one of the rooks by mistake, then that won't apply. But knight g5 or something, it just feels very fishy to me, everything. Then I want to go f5 next, and I might have the exchange and a kingside attack if everything goes well.
Yeah.
I don't trust this for Black, I'm afraid.
Sure.
I'm not sure I know either of these two players. But most of this match, I sort of feel like I know the people quite well. But not this one, I think.
I'm pretty sure I know Peter Hassan.
Oh, maybe maybe I have.
The thing is, I don't want to say he played in one of the seniors events, because then if he didn't, then that's going to be completely the wrong thing.
Well, if he's a kid, he might be a bit offended.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm just going to update. If we just skip back, because it looks like there's been a result on board.
Yes, we saw that one coming, I think. Let's see how he did it.
So let's see how he did it, because the crowd was suggesting rook f8, which was a nice move. Do you remember where was it here we saw it?
It was here, yeah.
And he played your suggestion, actually. Bishop f7 check, king f8 takes, king g8.
I mean, the trouble with this is that even if the other is mating, this is so certain.
Nice anyway, yeah.
Well, you kind of play things that don't. You try to play things where if you're wrong, it won't matter. Yeah. Unless you're very confident in your calculation, you go for
b8. But now we've got three major pieces.
I thought he might try rook g7 there if he was going to try him, but he just wanted to get out of there by now.
Here, and so Nigel took on.
He's actually done quite well not to already have got mated.
Yeah.
Rook f. What? Why doesn't rook f7 mate?
No, rook f7 is the move the computer wanted.
Oh, is it? Oh, sorry. I thought the computer was saying rook takes d6. Rook f7 looked to me like it might just mate.
But it seemed like rook d6 forced resignation, so that's good enough.
Yeah, I once missed a mate in one, and my opponent resigned. So
anyway, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good moment for it. I once missed a mate in one and then lost. That's another.
Oh, yeah.
It's John Cox.
Against John Cox.
It still hurts.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to update the score. So that was a win for Sari.
Yeah.
Edit.
By the way, I'm just looking at the opening of this game, White did quite a fancy knight maneuver, which if people do it might be worth looking into this game for, people, because these blocked up pawn center things can be quite irritating for some people, myself included. And whatever White did here went very well indeed. So.
Okay, I'm gonna. Shall we take a quick break, Peter?
Yeah, that would be good.
Like a few minutes break, because it seems like there's still quite a bit of this match.
It's still very much, they're using their civilized time control, aren't they? That's the thing.
Yeah. So I'm going to put this back onto top board. Okay. And then we'll be back in 5 minutes.
Right. Excellent. Sounds good. Thanks. Okay, I'll see you soon.
See you soon. Hi,
Oh,
Peter.
it's starting to get a bit hot in here. Yeah, my office is in the wrong.
Back live. Yeah, you're live.
Facing the wrong. Oh, sorry. Oh, we're
You're
live.
live.
Yeah, my office is facing the wrong way, so it's starting to get a bit hot in here.
Okay. You get the
cope.
afternoon sun. That sounds nice, though.
It could be, but it's a little bit hot at the moment.
Yes.
Okay.
So we're on.
Oh, this is back to board 1. Okay.
Yeah. What I was just going to do is see if there's any other results in the meantime.
Yes.
We already had the draw between Tim and Susan, Nigel Povell's win, Paul Dargan's win, Chris Izod. That short game, we understand one of the players went out of the playing area and got a default there.
Is that, and there's another, did I see something else? Or was that it?
I think that's all we have.
Okay.
Well, okay. And so we looked at the start of this game. It was the Sicilian.
Yes.
And so Graham Buckley is black and looks to be trying to make use of this open F-file now. James Morby's managed to get his knight round to C4 and is hoping the E5 pawn becomes weak, perhaps.
I think I'd argue it already is a bit. I think White will be very pleased with some of the developments since we saw it. I mean, at the point we saw it, we were speculating that knight h5 might have happened a bit too early because after g3, we thought the knight was just having to go back there again.
Yeah.
And I suspect we were right in that it was quite an important moment, which kind of swung the initiative White's way at bay a bit.
Yeah, I'm going to just then whiz through moves, but let's not
yes,
spend too much time. But knight g4, and so
it's always interesting when you're looking back through a game and you see a knight which is now beautifully placed moving away from the place where it's beautifully placed. It obviously came back there later. Okay, so now I think we're in a position where my feeling would be that black pretty desperately doesn't want to play d4 unless he has to. And since we know that at some point he had to, the interesting question is why he had to, I guess.
So he's trying to...
Yes. I mean, you could argue that it's slightly less problematic without that bishop on g7, but only slightly. I think it's still something he desperately doesn't want to do. So... Oh, okay. So he maybe didn't share my view that he desperately doesn't want to do it.
Well, I suppose White's
so he might just think it's the only way to stop e5 dropping off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so.
And he may have a point, but I would look long and hard at any options that didn't require that. Okay, but maybe I'm exaggerating. I tend to get very excited by good squares like the one this knight has. I tend to slightly overestimate them in my assessments, I think. h5 is a rather loose move because, you know, queen h6 check is almost catastrophic. So,
yeah.
I mean, it isn't. So he's probably okay. But and maybe he's trying to tempt White to. Okay, so he's trying to make counterplay on the F file, which is what a man has to do, I suppose.
And that's where they are.
Okay. So is F3 a move that White really doesn't want to play? The answer to that question is not very clear to me.
Yeah.
Because, you know, if you're not that bothered about, if it isn't a problem to play it, then you'd save yourself a certain amount of issues and problems by just doing it. But probably it's better to try not to do it if you don't have to. And queen g5 looks like a good move because it ties that rook down a bit. Yeah, I mean, I like White's position very much. I really, like I said, I was not a fan.
Question for okay. I was just wondering if queen h6, but I guess that you just go king g8.
Oh, what to? Oh, I see. Yeah. No, that's right. I think you can just go king g8. At which point, maybe black's threatening queen f7 or something, or at least it's an idea. Actually, queen f7 might be the answer to what was wrong with f3, although that's not totally clear, but it is a possibility.
Because at the moment, the white queen and knight are looking at e5, tying up the black queen and knight. And and that knight on c4 is also stopping the queen move away from b6 as well. So,
well, yeah, I suppose it is. Yes. Yeah, I mean, you sort of feel like black might end up having to sack something because passive move. But maybe you can play passive moves. I mean, king h7 or something. What if you just sit there and say, "What are you doing?"
yeah, how does white progress from here? You want to get the white rooks a bit more active.
I mean, king h7 would enable black to then try to play something like rook f3 without leaving g6 on freeze, possibly. So it might even form a part of black trying to do something. Although I don't think that leads very far, but you never know.
Okay. All right.
So I prefer white, but it's not totally clear how he's breaking through.
That's okay. We didn't look at Bob Neusser's game, I think.
We didn't look at. Were there a couple of other lower boards?
There's a couple. All right, let's start here because I know we didn't look at this. So Bob's white. Junaid El Archie is black for Northumberland.
Well, the first thing that jumps out at me is a sort of reasonably healthy-looking f5 square for white and possibly f6 weakness. Like the f file in general feels like something for white to be a bit happy about. The counterplay would be the g file, but g3 is sort of better defended than f5 or f6. So my initial feeling is that white's position is more comfortable.
Yeah.
And the more I look, probably it just strengthens that feeling rather than giving any doubt about it. I think white's quite a bit better here, although I may again slightly place too high a store on these kind of visually appealing weaknesses. But I mean, visually appealing squares, and worry too much about those kind of weaknesses that just look weak.
Because white can put a rook on the f file and a knight in on d5 and castle.
Yeah, well, that's one way is, as you say, just to focus on attacking f6. Another way would be to put rooks on the f file, but not play knight d5 necessarily, but keep trained on the idea of one day making exchanges on the f5 square, I suppose, at which point h5 feels very weak as well.
I see, yeah.
And the other counterplay, I suppose, is if black plays. I don't know. The trouble is, black would like to exchange from the point of view of getting some play on the g file. Black might like to exchange that knight on e2, but if you play knight d4, you've got to take back somehow, and neither recapture looks very good news for black structure. So, yeah, I think white's quite a lot better. I like the bishop on h3, of course. Just compare that with the bishop on g6. Maybe you can dispense with all the other blabber and just say that is a hell of a much better piece. So, yeah, I don't like black's position that much.
Okay.
Bob is doing all right, I think.
Yeah.
So who is black?
Junaid El Archie.
Right. Well, I don't think.
Okay, we looked at Peter Hassan's game, didn't we? But we didn't look at Jack Erskine Pereira against Dan Rosen.
Oh, Dan Rosen, he's another.
Oh, it's actually the other way around. Dan Rosen, white for Surrey against Jack Erskine Pereira. Now, what's this?
Feels like a player who might be. Is he a player who might be even more senior than me? I don't know.
Which one?
Dan Rosen.
No, I don't know.
I don't know.
I'd say.
I probably just insulted him. He's probably a lot younger.
I don't know about a lot. No, I don't know whether he's similar age to you. I don't know, Peter. Okay. Exactly.
It feels like I've known him around for a long time.
He does very bad puns. That's what I know.
Bad puns.
Bad puns all the time. Lots of puns.
Okay. He probably thought they were good till you said that.
No, I think he was.
He knows, does he know?
I think he would call them bad. I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's just done a little fancy rook trade.
It's just a trade, isn't it? He's going to go queen e8 and.
Well, I think it's just. I mean, if it's a mating attack, then I've done it a disservice. I thought it was just a trade.
Let's see it. So here, he's obviously going to take it, right?
It feels a little. I mean, maybe it's maybe as a trade, it's the only way to conveniently defend c2. But it feels slightly odd to trade on the basis that it looked like white had quite a decent attack. but maybe black's attack was actually.
Maybe he's trying to do some more.
Yeah, I think the key question is, can black? What happens if black just goes b3 at the end of all this, or indeed a3? Those pawns are quite dangerous, right? It's one of those positions where black has dangerous pawns and white needs to give check.
This is what we're talking about, right?
Yeah, and then
b3,
a3 or b3. I don't know. Either could be nasty.
Yeah, that's pretty nasty.
I don't know. I think so.
There's nothing better than that. But maybe
they can't be because the queen covers the long diagonal, so it's got to be.
Yeah.
That's why I had, wasn't that happy about him trading rooks.
No. So that was where it was.
Yeah, but I mean, so the other move you could look at is rook d2, I suppose, but maybe that just feels a bit passive.
Yeah.
On the other hand, there's trouble. Yeah, you kind of need that rook for any mating attack to be a mating attack. So, but you could, I mean, if you played rook d2, maybe you could then go queen e4 or something and try and bring the queen in to form part of a mating attack. But of course, a fair analysis would give black a move as well. So. I mean, it could just be that a3 is very strong here because it is a fairly vicious-looking pawn. Okay, so he gave it. So he made the trade.
Yeah, that's as far as they are.
Yeah, so it will go like this. I'm pretty sure, because if black goes to h6, they're going to get mated.
Yeah, so say this also. But I think doesn't.
Yeah, although it's quite possible that a3 is a good move. Yeah.
I suppose you can go back.
You can. That was the move that made me wonder about a3, but
maybe a3 not b3.
Oh no, but let's just see because it could be.
So say that one.
Worrying unnecessarily. The a pawn is a bit of a dude, isn't it?
I think quite.
As they say in the books.
In trouble. Maybe try and just trade and.
Yeah, try and make a perpetual.
Okay.
I'm trying to think. I keep trying to think of bad puns now. You've told me.
Well, yeah. Well,
empathise with what he's probably thinking. Well, I mean, as an attempt at a perpetual, it's not the worst I've ever seen. But black needs some sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go rook d7 and see what happens.
Rook d7. So what about queen f6?
Yeah, that's definitely a possible move.
Oh, we have some more moves actually.
Okay.
So rook g8, king g8, queen there. Queen takes c6 has happened.
Oh, they went for b3, yeah? Or not necessarily? Not yet.
No, this is where they are.
Oh, this is where they are. Okay. So b3, rook d2, there might be a very strong move. I just haven't spotted it yet. But it is sort of pretend that what was putting me off it was the thought that if the queen goes anywhere other than on the black diagonal, then queen c3 will be a useful move for white. But there might be some quiet move for black which just sort of threatens stuff like that. And it's quite possible b3 is strong. a3 rook d7 is worth checking out too, because it might just be. It's easy to establish this isn't the way to go. But queen f6 is, like you said, a move. Okay, but one thing that occurs to me now is that he could go. No, that's just wrong. Yeah, so I was just thinking, no, if we take queens, black's next move is just going to be rook a7, and that will just do the business. I was thinking about rook d6 and going behind the pawns, but there's no way. You can't take the b4 pawn because rook a7 just wins. So...
Okay.
I think, yeah, I mean, you're right. Basically, it looks like black's doing pretty well, whether it's a3 or b3 that shows it best. Queen f6.
This is where
Queen f6. Maybe he can just play some move, because black doesn't really want the queen to be the one dealing with the perpetual check. So maybe something like queen. I don't know what exactly. Queen a4 or something after queen f6.
Oh, right.
Just trying to. Oh, but that's bad move from a checking territory. Maybe black can even go
here, can't you?
a2 and take with the queen. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's no good.
Let's
it does look pretty good for black, I think.
Yeah.
But there may still be some resources.
Let's go back to board 2. We didn't see that for ages.
Oh, yes, yes.
So this was Peter Large against David Eggleston, and we hadn't liked white's opening too much, I think.
No, I think we still don't like the consequences of white's opening too much.
Yeah, so
looks like Eggy's quite a solid display. So B3, what's he trying to do? He's trying. Oh, is somebody in time trouble? That looked.
Peter has 8 minutes left.
Oh no, but it's move 40. Oh, this is for the whole game, isn't it?
So it's just a reminder. It's 2 hours 15 plus a 15-second increment throughout.
I just love the fact that there are still time controls that I've never heard of before.
Yeah.
Like, you assume everything's been done, but have you ever played 2.25 hours for all the moves?
Played this one.
It's a new one on me, I have to say.
Yeah. Okay, and
I think this position's probably pretty much winning for black with if he plays accurately.
So the knight's on prise at the moment, so perhaps he drops it back.
Yes. That seems
so maybe
likely. If knight d6, maybe he's planning to go f4.
So knight d6, f4.
I'm just a thought. I mean, I'm just trying to break up black's very strong pawns.
Yeah.
That gives white. I mean, the knight on f6 does have some virtues if white can sort of stabilize a little bit. Now that doesn't look so bad. So maybe not knight. Maybe we need to find better than knight d6. What is rook b3 a move?
Okay. Rook b3.
Sure. The chat's gone very quiet. Has everyone gone home?
Well, I guess, yeah, maybe when we had our break,
they thought, right.
Everyone thought it was a good idea and had a break too.
Yes. Yeah. Maybe our analysis is so convincing no one has anything to say. Had you thought? I hadn't thought of that until then. I don't know. Okay, so b3 and with the idea of f4 at some point is probably the best fight that white can put up. I mean,
yes. So this one's looking good for black. So I mean, it's 2.5.
But I think it's not quite as bad as I thought when I first saw. I mean, it is bad. It's a pawn down and black's nicely coordinated.
Yeah.
But the knight on f6 gives some hope, and
yeah. Okay.
I'm sure
I want to
see fight very hard.
Max against Gwilym now, and so this one, Max Turner has just put his knight.
What did I tell you? He's not a man to play rook a2 when it's attacked.
So where were we?
We were after bishop takes b2, and as I predicted, he's sacked the exchange rather than allowing some bishop e5 thing.
So here, he didn't go. Yes, okay. So we were in the opening. He went knight c3. So we did get this exchange sack, and then b4.
Yep. Putting the knight on b4 is very logical.
t1. Rook c8. So this pawn still.
Rook c8 makes sense. I mean, it looks okay, but he is, I suppose, moving a rook from behind a powerful passed pawn. But yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense to stop e5 and bishop takes c5, I suppose. So.
Yeah, e5 happened.
It's usually a luxury if you've got so many nice things to do with your rook that you can't choose between them.
94. So, but isn't this on freeze now?
It is, but so c5. I suppose he's just trying to. He's doing exactly what I said. What John Spielman would call making some mess.
Yeah.
Actually, I think lots of other people would call it that now. But that kind of concept, John first brought me to the concept of mess making.
What about knight f4 though?
Now,
yeah.
Then I guess knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes c5, and on with. Actually, on with the game is another John Spielman expression for these situations.
Okay.
It has the same sort of aura of making the best of a random job. This is a result for White compared with what we saw a few moves ago, I think.
Okay.
He's just anything where he manages to generate some mess is something. I was wondering about the move
c4.
No, I was wondering about a move that isn't very good, I think. So maybe I should have been wondering about the move c4. Well, I suppose we might go bishop c5 anyway and see. But it's all together, yeah. I mean, if you can get knight f4 in a situation where black's not recapturing on f4 with a pawn, that feels like an improvement. But at least, yeah, in all these situations, as I thought he would, Max has done a decent job at making a little bit of mess. I'm sort of wondering about moves like bishop b5. I just want to try and remove the defender of the defender of the f4 pawn, which is forcing us to sort of change the structure a bit. But maybe not. I mean, there may be moves here.
Okay, so you may be. What about knight c3?
That's actually one of the moves I was a bit concerned about. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have any tricks with the whole, and that probably refutes it actually. So maybe I should go bishop a4 first, and then see if I can wangle a bishop to a good square. I don't know if it makes any difference. I'm just being a bit random actually. Yeah. I don't know what. It's not so easy. Yeah. I mean, Black's doing. I'm sure Black's objectively doing well in all these lines, but you also get. It's dangerous when you get that feeling that your opponent's position was very bad and now it's improving. That's usually a dangerous moment. I guess rook a1 here is a move. I don't know. I think what I was trying to do was make White take on c5 with a knight rather than a bishop, which I thought would be less annoying, but it's no longer that clear to me. No, can you put the bishop back? I think I need to actually think here, or maybe I don't. Maybe we need to see what they do. What do you think? Did you get the feeling White has managed to generate some complexity at least?
Well, my feeling is it should still be really good for Black.
Yeah, I think it should be very good.
Because I feel like that f4 pawn's going to get undermined somehow.
Maybe just a matter of figuring out how. But part of me thinks even if that's true, that Max, from the position he had, has still done a decent job of making a mess.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, yeah. Let's let
What about Akshaya?
We'll let them sort that one out. Yeah, let's have a look at Akshaya, who has indeed. So she went b5, I assume. Yeah, she went b5.
So that was.
I think we came into this at a really, really key moment because after b5. Okay, but knight d2, I'd sort of slightly forgotten was there. That holds White's structure together a bit. But look, White's still sort of tied up, isn't he? He can't. He still can't move the rook. So he moves the knight. That makes sense. But then the knight gets into that square that she always wanted to get to anyway. And now she might switch to a kingside attack, which I sort of get the feeling often is where she's happiest.
And queen takes.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's an undermining of a structure. It's quite sort of textbook, isn't it? d3, queen d5.
So queen's off.
Okay.
And so black is
Fourth.
pawn up.
G5. G5 is a nice move.
G5 she did.
Keith would approve of G5. It trades a more centre pawn for a more wing pawn, I guess. It feels like the right thing to do.
Oh, okay. H5.
Yeah, it's just a nice little.
Yeah, and she just comes
with the
back.
move order. Yeah. Her plan is still to make the trade, and F4 is a nice, genuine weakness. She's done a really nice job there. Knight E4, maybe? King E4. All right, piece, wrong square. I mean, sorry, right square, wrong piece.
This is where they're at.
Yeah, I imagine she's a lot happier to be at here than he is.
Yes, this looks nice.
So, Rook C3 seems like a pretty nice resource to have, whichever way White. Oh no, maybe.
So going to be a trade.
Like maybe he can take on D4 if she. Oh no, that's not true. So Rook, if either, it seems to me it's possible that either Rook. Well, Rook takes D4, then. Okay, the only bit of good news for White in this position is that she can't go into the pawn ending, I guess. Actually, maybe she even can, but she wouldn't.
Actually,
there's lots of good moves.
F1 was played. This is the position.
Okay, fine. Okay, now I was thinking about. I was thinking about a move that doesn't work. Okay, so this is the challenging move. This is where she needs to find one more good move, probably to.
So you could try Rook C3, but that just trades, doesn't it?
Yep.
One more result.
Okay.
And that is, oh, well, this was a success then for Dan Rosen because it looks like there is a draw here. So we had Rook D7.
Oh, he went he just didn't deal with the perpetual.
He went A2, didn't stop the perpetual. And indeed, it was a perpetual.
And we were, judging by what the engine says, we were right. Queen F6 was the way to deal with the perpetual, yeah?
Yeah.
I say we. I think you suggested it first, but
yeah, You agreed.
I was full of enthusiasm for that idea for Black Cow.
Okay.
It's certainly better than allowing the perpetual. Yeah, I think Black was guilty of underestimating what a good job he'd done there, actually.
So I'm going to add on half a point there for both sides. So 3-2.
Yes.
Now to Northumberland. Now remember, Northumberland, they lost, didn't they, last year on tiebreak to Middlesex? So.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. Oh gosh, so we should know what the tiebreak rules are in case, but we've got a little while to find out.
Yeah.
Okay, so that one was a draw. I'm going to pop back in on. Let's do Mark Joss against Graham Oswald.
Oh yes.
Oh, sorry, Graham Oswald against Mark Joss.
Yeah, he did go Rook F5, and that persuaded White to go Knight F4 again. Can we just see that? I didn't realise that was even possible.
So we were here then?
We were here, yeah. Knight D3, Rook F5.
We were quite liking Black, weren't we?
Oh, we were definitely quite liking Black, but I think...
Because Black's
I just hadn't quite understood why G5 doesn't win a piece. Queen G3, sorry, I just wasn't really looking. Okay. So G5 doesn't win a piece because of Queen G3. Doesn't necessarily mean it would have been a terrible move, but it certainly takes the immediate stinger. You could play H6, threatening Rook takes F. Oh, it doesn't threaten it. I keep trying to blunder material.
Oh.
That would be a nice trap, actually, after H6. If Black plays Rook takes F4, Rook takes Knight H5, there's Queen G4, which is a bit embarrassing.
So here threatening...
No, you're not threatening this because after Knight H5, there's Queen G4 hitting the Queen. And bad things have occurred. Okay. that was fairly irrelevant. But so yeah, okay. So he went knight f4 again, which holds the d pawn, but doesn't really feel like an attempt to show that the rook is. I mean, the rook's not going to be out of play exactly, is it? Is that the engine saying g5 is a good move anyway? No.
Sure no, that's the main line now.
Yeah.
Okay. So knight f4 happened.
And he went rook e8, which was the rational move.
c4, h5.
I like h5, I think.
And queen c3, and that's where they're at.
Okay. Well.
So it's still the pawn up for black.
Yeah, it's still the pawn up for black, and I still like the question is how to make progress without creating big weaknesses, I suppose.
Now black only has 5 minutes left and white has 30, so there is
a that's quite interesting. That makes it a bit more unpredictable, yes.
Yeah. All right, we need to anyway see the next one because that's Andrew Dunn and Chris Baker. So Chris Baker's white here.
Oh gosh, this is improved. Well, I think it's improved for Chris. Can we just cheat? We haven't used the engine at all yet. Can we just see that position where I was talking about before, where I was trying to decide if black had compensation? Can we just see what the engine thought of that after 21? After 21, rook takes f8. It was, I think.
So here we go.
And I said queen b2 would be a good move, which
queen b2 was played.
Can we just see what the engine says at this point after rook f8 or queen b2 comes?
Queen b2. So here.
Yeah. Yeah. So the engine does prefer white. Yeah, I think. Like I said, that d4 felt like a decent pawn sack up to the point where you realise that black was already a pawn down, and then it loses its appeal. In which case, yeah, white needs to make some consolidating moves. But
yeah, it doesn't want
the one pressing. Yeah. I think it's true to say that Andrew Dunn also played for White Rose recently.
Oh, really?
Which was interesting to me because I didn't realize. Oh, this is what I said, that after queen f5 you can castle. I mentioned that, I think. Yeah. But I had missed the fact that after rook c8 you can no longer keep the h pawn because there's a threat of rook c2, so you don't have time to defend it. But it does necessitate black giving up the c file, which may not be ideal. Which is kind of pretty much how we get the position.
Yeah. Okay, so then you get the pawn
queen c5. You can sort of see how it arrived. Queen c5 feels like the move you want to do. But I'm not sure about bishop b5. Isn't that the move you want to do? I'm not sure it was the move I wanted to do. What would happen if black had gone queen back to f5? Oh, wait. Or h3. Are there any circumstances where black can sack the a pawn for the f3 pawn and get some counterplay? It may be that once you've got the two passed pawns on the queen side, it would be very unpleasant for black, and black's always having to struggle because white can threaten to trade queens. That's the most likely thing. Can we just check that after queen d7, like bishop b5? I wasn't sure about that. Queen f5, is that a bad move? 27.
I don't see how you queen.
Here, bishop b5, white played here.
Yeah.
And then I'm just wondering about going to the king side. So maybe even queen h3 just to do it in a radical fashion. Queen b7 feels passive to me, but maybe this is overly fanciful again. It may be that after queen a7, queen f3, something like queen b8 check back to f4 or g3 or something is already good.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. Can we just put the engine on this? This is the last time I'm going
as long as you
one and only time we've used it, but I'm really curious about this.
Because you could probably do some counterplay against that knight as well.
Well, yeah, that is a bit of a concern. But queen takes f3 does defend it, so.
Yeah. Oh, it's just saying drop the bishop back.
And it's saying it's an improvement better for white than it was before.
Yeah.
Bishop e2. Oh, well, then I'm going to claim that my suspicion about bishop b5 was correct. If you can't take on a7, then probably bishop b5 is not the right move.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a legitimate repetition of position, maybe, but.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is interesting. So queen a7, queen takes f3. Black does have enough counterplay to, to hold those pawns at bay. That's not totally surprising.
Okay.
Interesting. So I don't like queen b7. That's my. That was what
okay.
created this feeling.
Not active enough.
Yeah, basically. One more question. Was Queen C6 possible there?
In which position?
Instead of exchanging bishop for knight, can you try and exchange queens with Queen C6?
The Queen C6 here.
Well, because it seems to me like black has to take. And then if they play knight e5, we can take on d5. So
yeah.
Sort of looks quite promising. Oh, but they can just play knight b6. That might... Oh, I don't know. Then a4. They might play knight f6, but that looks like pretty dangerous queenside pawns with that bishop up on c6. I want to go a4, b5, a5, b6. And when they take, go a6. But maybe the king's in time. Yeah, the king might be... I think the king's just in time to stop b6, actually. So probably that's a bad idea. Okay, so what he did is probably more sensible. I apologise, but it's nice to sort of see why people did what they did. b5, queen f5. So it feels to me like black probably should have achieved enough activity to drawing chances, but I guess there's never any perpetual. So you check the king with queen g5, it goes to f1, and that's kind of the end of the checks. There's queen, but then it can go to e2. I don't know to what extent that helps white.
But who's better now? If
There's
anyone.
true, there's an h pawn, isn't there? Who's better? And why?
Yeah.
I still sort of find it hard to believe that black's actually going to be better, but maybe black's just white. Maybe black's sort of fine now. Yeah, okay. So he's done quite well.
Yep.
Yeah, my sense was that bishop b5 wasn't the way I would have wanted to do it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, interesting. It's very hard to say. I mean, it's very easy to say those things from afar. It's quite difficult judgments. Oh, well, there you are. You wanted to know whether you preferred the bishop or the knight, and it's sort of clarified somewhat, hasn't it? It's got a kind of... It looks like a textbook bishop versus knight position now. I'm not even sure. Not a classic good one or bad one, but the sort of one where which is better as the central issue. Interesting. I still don't know. I still don't understand this game at all, actually. But so
black to move, and I'm thinking he might bring the queen in even more.
To where, like
h3?
h3 or something?
You don't really want to swap it off.
No, I don't want to swap her off. I'm pretty sure about that. And given how few things I'm sure about here, that's quite welcome.
Oh, Osborne Zhang is curtains for black. Shall we see that?
Yes.
Let's see curtains. Okay.
Let's get away from this game. I don't understand. There's something I'm like, ooh.
Right. So
it's white. So amongst other things, white could win a piece by queen h8 and then queening and taking the knight.
Oh.
But I assume there are better moves than that, actually. Like not doing that.
If he does win a piece, he's like a whole rook and a piece up.
Oh, heavens. Oh, okay. I sort of hadn't counted. I forgot to count the rooks on this one.
Isn't it?
Okay. That's good enough then.
You might as well.
Yes. It's true that if he's a rook up already, it's obviously curtain. So how did he win the rook might be the pertinent question from figuring out why this game has gone the way it has. I mean, we liked Marcus's position, didn't we?
Were we somewhere like here?
We were at queen b3, yeah. I think that's the line we looked at. Oh, no, knight e5. Oh, wait a minute, knight e5. Isn't that the one I thought just lost? Oh, no, it was rook takes. Sorry, it was rook takes that just lost. Queen takes and queen b3. Yes, okay. Queen d2.
Take.
Yeah, so black doesn't have time for counterplay because e7 check just wins, so he has to play h6.
He's gone h6 and then e7 check, king h7. And queen b5.
b5 looks like a good move to clarify the advantage.
Blocking these ones.
Yes.
Queen e3 check. And c5.
Yeah, that's just a move to try and confuse because queen f5 or whatever. Oh, no, it's just the rook is hit. There's no... So...
Yeah, and Marcus
So does he
didn't
have
take
some
that
trick
rook.
if bishop takes c5?
Sorry?
If bishop takes c5, is that just making things more complicated somehow? I guess at least then bishop might be on prison. Bishop c1 is a very clean way of doing it, isn't it? He's just cleanly winning a rook. I mean, I'd rather imagine that queen takes e8 wasn't a bad way to do it either, but this is superbly clean. Yeah, it's all over.
Queen takes e8.
He's greedily wanting to queen his pawn rather than giving away his queen to queen his pawn. He must be said he's right. It is better.
There's not any attack really for black.
Well, you'd look at knight f3, wouldn't you, just to check?
Knight f3, maybe just... if you take with the rook, they go queen e2.
Yeah.
So what do you do? Knight f3. Oh, you can just go queen f5, can't you? And then...
That's a very good move. That will end the game. Yeah.
Thanks for the follow.
You're actually gonna make your new queen with mate. At which point you feel it's been a good afternoon. I think. Yeah. It's always a good afternoon when you do that. Okay, that's very efficient.
Okay, and so, but it's not. I can't chalk it up yet because they're still playing.
If you were ever going to do that, you probably could, but you mustn't do that.
Yeah. Oh no, I can. Look, 1-0.
Yeah, you can chalk it up. Okay.
Okay, so that's a win for Surrey. So that by my sums, that levels the match.
I'm slightly surprised there aren't more results. Have we missed any yet?
Well, it seems to be all.
Anyway, Osborne Zhang is curtains for black is a very uncontroversial comment on the chat. Yeah.
Okay, and we had that. We already looked at Dan Rosen's draw. Okay. Yes. So I'm going to just let's still check back in on for one.
Can we? Oh, okay. Yeah. No, this is okay. Black's managed to win f3, but white still has all the positional advantages. This might be a model way to convert. I don't know.
Yeah. So white's threatening to just do a whole load of exchanges, I guess, on the f5. But what about rook g3?
Then you
move the king, I suppose. Hello, Story Sniper. How are you? That's Charlie's Story. Greetings from Northumberland.
Indeed, he is.
Cheering for Northumberland, then.
Yeah, rook g3, I would have thought is what you have to try because if you
say that,
change everything, it looks grim.
Okay, but then you have to just move your queen out of the way.
I think so, although you could go rook f3 again when there's no immediate exchange of everything.
Yeah, true.
That might be.
Yeah, because black could be all right with the draw.
I'm sure black would be very happy with the draw, given the position he's had.
Yeah.
Actually, this is... So how did black win this pawn? Because it didn't feel necessary when we last saw it.
If you say which...
I was debating whether f3 was a move I wanted to play and thinking, I don't know.
So he did f3.
He did f3, but of course that then is quite hard to defend after queen f7.
Yeah. Knight d6, queen e7, knight c4, queen f7, queen d2.
That's a nice move to flick in before you take on f3, certainly.
Yeah.
I'm sort of thinking that
You can't really defend against.
Maybe Graham has shown there's a bit more, rather more resources here than I thought. After rook g3 check, king h2, rook f3, it's not obvious to me how white makes progress, because if you change something, you're still going to have the same procedure where black has rook g3 check, and the king almost certainly has to go to h2 and then rook f3 again. So I don't know if there's any point at which black gets ambitious, but it certainly looks like
you can draw if you want to.
Yeah. So what have we missed here?
Oh, he didn't do it actually.
He didn't do that.
No.
Oh, you're on f4. Oh, maybe he's already got ambitious.
Okay.
I didn't think about that one.
But what's he trying to do now?
Well, not exchange everything on the f file, I guess. Yeah, I mean, if rook takes f4, he's just going to take with the pawn, and that is obviously progress for black.
Mate in 10 on board 12, says Nigel.
This hasn't really gone as James would have intended.
Okay, mate in 10 on board 12.
Mate in 10 on board. It sounds like something from the 19th century where it's just been announced, doesn't it?
Okay.
Mate in 10. Okay.
I mean, it looks good.
It does look good. It looks like mate in 10 to me.
Can you tell? So what is the mate in 10, Peter?
That's. I mean, if I'd slept more than 5 hours last night, I might have a go.
So if he puts his bishop back again.
Do we know that Queen e4 check was part of the mate in 10?
Well, I don't know what the mate in 10 is yet. No. So. I guess.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, I know. I see what he's after. He's after bishop e6, queen a4 check. Oh. And then if black plays bishop d7 again, you can take rook takes. And then rook c8 check, king e7, and queen e4 is mate, which is why you want the queen on a4. That's kind of cute. That's cute.
That was well read out, Peter.
Well read out. I found that myself, matey.
That's what read out means.
Read off the engine. No, I saw that. That seems okay. That seems okay.
Yeah.
But is there anything else black can do after queen? Because if not, then that's mating fewer than 10, isn't it?
But do you know what? He hasn't done it because he's gone there, but now he's gone queen h7.
That was a tad greedy, I think. I mean, there was a question. I guess that after queen a4 check, black could try rook d7, but I find it highly unlikely that that would survive. Maybe that's where the mate in 10 arises. I don't know.
Mate's gone now.
Mate's gone now. Yeah, I know. If he takes on h7, it would be very surprising if there was still mate in 10. But okay, but I mean, he's missed the mate. But
that must be.
I mean, getting down to nuts and bolts, he is still the exchange up with an awful lot of things going for him, isn't he? Safer king, a ton more pawns.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to have to move on because we have another result, which is Yaroslav against Peter. So we have a win for Northumberland.
Yeah, I think we probably assessed this one about right, didn't we? That the exchange wasn't going. The exchange sack. Black having to give up the exchange wasn't going to work out for him because there's all these open files and chances for white to attack on the king side. I think it looked pretty grim. It seemed. I mean, this position looks.
So we had it
easily in keeping with what we said, although
here and the computer would have liked queen d4 here, but bishop d4 was
but would have liked. It might just mean it's less bad, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, it often says things are a blunder when it leads to mate, whereas the alternative is -10 or something. So
true.
It's all a bit. Yeah, this looks fair. I mean, he's just systematically entering in the white squares, isn't he? And there's no way. And after knight e4, he's going to enter on both colour squares. So.
Yeah. Okay.
That looks pretty efficient. Yeah.
Look that one up as a win for Northumberland.
Yeah, and rather well played by the look of it.
Well played. Yes. Well played. 4-3 now. Okay. And I'm just going to see if there's any other results.
Sorry, I was going to say Bob's a bit short of time, and then I realised that he's got far more time than his opponent, who's really short.
Let's have a look at Bob then. And so,
oh my word, this is turned around. Unless there's this has turned around loads. We were admiring Bob's nice, harmonious position, and now he has fewer rooks and a degree of chaos. How did that happen?
Don't know. Where were we? So
he went rook f1 as we were kind of advocating on move.
This one here, 19.
Yeah, that looked very sensible.
Okay.
Bishop f7.
We'll have to go fast because
Oh, I don't like knight d5 in general here. I just think the knights are worth more than the bishops somehow. Maybe not the one on 8. The one on h3 is a dude, but I mean, the knights are. You need the knights to utilize the weak squares. So that's an exchange. I mean, that bishop on f7 is no great shakes, and that knight is eyeing up key squares. And after knight d4, I said what we're worried about is if black can play knight d4, and then we get some counterplay against g3. But if white had played correctly, I don't think black really got the chance.
Right.
But now suddenly you see how white's suddenly on the defense.
It's still not an exchange, right?
No, it's still only positional, but white. All black's weaknesses are now quite nicely shielded, whereas white's weaknesses are coming into play. And I'm kind of thinking, I don't like this so much anymore.
Okay, knight e3. Oh, now that's threatening something nasty on c2.
That's very nasty.
And this only stops part of it.
Oh, right, okay.
Castle.
Castle's very restrained because after knight c2, he can't actually defend a1. I mean, he will trap the knight, but it's all visually. Oh, there's queen a4 check. What am I on about? Sorry. Put that down as a senior moment or something.
Okay, so this isn't the exchange
f5, this is how they got there. But you can black's positions just gained so much dynamism from that one bad exchange. Actually would make a very good coaching example. Sorry, Bob. But a lot of things went wrong at that point. I mean, giving up the exchange here sort of feels like the best try, but it's very much.
Okay, so Bob's going to try and come in. Oh, Bob's going to come in on h5, and he's actually been allowed to.
Yeah, but I think f takes g3 is fine because after takes rook h7, h4 is dropping as well, and black's king looks like it's in a bit of bother. But I think white's king.
Follow Momenta. So
I think white's king will teach us a lot more about being seriously bothered than black's king. White's king is going to experience a real pinch here.
So they're there, and
that g pawn is quite a dangerous beast.
So maybe here.
Maybe, but queen takes h4. I mean, just Again, when you got that bishop, you only the exchange down, but the bishop means you've got no kind of defense on the dark squares at all.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't play a role there. So it just looks.
Greetings to Germany.
Bad switch around for Bob.
Yes. Okay.
I mean, black only has a minute 55, but I suspect he will be fine with that actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's probably the biggest turnaround we've seen so far. Most of the games have actually been, they've gone in the direction we thought they were going on the whole, which is something, I guess.
Yeah.
Can we just see Gwilym and Max again? Because we haven't seen that for a while.
Here we go.
Oh my word, it's all happening.
Oh, me. So Gwilym's got a knight in on f2. If it's taken, I don't know, it can be recaptured in a couple of ways.
Yes. I mean, is black threatening to sort of win with checks? Not that I can see. So I would look first at kind of rook b8 check, king g7, queen d6 or something. Just see if we can cause a lot of hassle before black does.
I see. So here, king here,
or even rook b7. I don't know, some move that pretends to be
b7.
threatening. I don't know, or even, or maybe even queen takes a7 in case there's an endgame. In case things trade into an endgame. Let's grab another pawn. Now we're threatening f2. You can't just leave it there.
Yeah. So, but isn't this king? This king. I'm looking for that square. So I'm going to say knight takes.
I'm a bit worried about knight takes h3 check. I think maybe black's king is. Sorry, white's king is catastrophic, and black's is only. What knight takes h3 check might just have won. Yeah.
Oh.
Because after bishop takes, queen takes, it defends the bishop, and then there's. Feels like we're being mated all over the place.
Knight takes.
Yeah.
Bishop takes.
Queen takes, and the fact that that defends d7 makes me very optimistic for black.
I see. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, but white still needs to try something like that, something active, but that one doesn't look very good. It may be that Gwilym has just created enough counter mess against white's king. So what did he do? That position we saw before, he went c4. He just sat the exchanges back.
C4, yeah.
I think that's a very good idea.
c4. Oh yeah, we were looking at that.
I think that might even be a move you suggested, Natasha.
Yeah. Here. And then he came in this
just
way.
Knight takes f4. That's a very positional and very
nice.
thematic way of doing it. That's why we're seeing a position where black's controlled the potential mess, I think. Mostly.
Yes. Queen a3. Knight d3.
I mean, presumably they're in some time trouble. I do wonder if queen e3 with the idea of meeting knight d3 with just taking on a7 might have been a better try.
29. That one.
Yeah, just here, just going queen e3 because I want to hit a7, but I want to stay defending f2 so that what happens in the game doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Could that be a better idea? I don't know.
Maybe.
Perhaps. It might be. I expect there's some good way for black to do things anyway, but it does look a bit. I mean, it's sort of. It covers all the most obvious things, doesn't it?
Mm.
So he went queen a3, but then the knight sort of hops in quite scarily.
Yeah, and then rook b1, knight f2.
Okay, knight f2 so.
And we've got that was the move.
Right, that was something I also wondered if it might happen. And this.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got two things to look at. One is whether white's play is going anywhere if black just takes on e4, and the other thing would be if taking h3 and then you can't take h3 and defend the bishop anymore because it's pinned. So we have to go knight takes e4 now. Yeah, the rook is pinning, so h3 is not on prise. But knight takes e4 still is on prise.
Yeah.
And after rook takes b7, rook takes d7 check. Being me, I'm going to look at this again in terms of darks.
But now
is there some brutal?
Yeah, it's a bit different because I don't know. There might still be a mate, but if you take that, you can't recapture like that. Or you might be able to, but I was just looking at that move.
Ah, okay. I could go but I can go queen f2 check first and then recapture, and then I'm covering f8 and I'm threatening rook e1 mate, and everything is rosy.
Yeah.
Apart from queen c1 check, but I think I go g5 and I don't know. Those are the kind of things that go right if you're having a good day and wrong if you're not.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just check that line because it's probably quite important actually. So bishop takes e4, which is a good spot for white.
Right.
Queen f2 check to try and cover queen f8 check before we recapture.
Yeah.
You could argue for the purposes of your course that is a sufficient zug.
Yeah, and here, but can we do better?
Oh, that's a killer. That's just end game over. Of course.
Yeah,
queen g1 and queen g5. Very nice. Or indeed g5 mate. Although there's something wrong in principle with giving a mate, which allows a mate in one for your opponent were at their move. So I prefer queen g5.
So this looks good.
Good is an understatement. It looks very, very good. Is that what's happened? Actually, no.
This is the position here.
Okay, so it has largely happened.
Yeah.
So okay, so what he's going to have to take on d7 and then find a move that doesn't get mated. Oh, I tell you what, he might try. Rook takes d7, king h6, and then maybe queen takes a7. So I'm trying to defend f2 and threaten mate at the same time.
Queen here, yes.
Yeah, that has a little bit more.
Okay.
It's difficult to be less solid than getting mated, but it does have a bit more.
Yeah. So do we have? So there's at least a draw, but you don't want to draw.
Oh yeah. Oh, actually, there's mate immediately. There's queen g3 check. Oh no, it's not mate. I'm talking nonsense. Sorry.
Where's the mate?
Actually, it is mate. It's incredibly. No, it's not. I can't decide if it's mate or not. But what I was trying to do isn't what I was thinking about isn't actually mate. But knight g5 might be a pretty powerful chess move.
Yeah.
Defending.
Or knight f6.
No, I want the extra knight f3 check threat as well. I want counterplay.
Yeah.
I think as a defensive and attacking move at the same time, that takes a bit of beating.
Yeah.
I think that is awesome.
Okay. So that's where they're at.
Oh, we have greetings from Germany. Did you see that? That's pretty cool.
We do. And we have, I think we need to pop in on Akshaya just for a moment. I'll just check if there's any results we don't have yet. Oh, now I've actually forgotten whether we've put Chris Baker's result in or Marcus Osborne's.
Oh.
I've now lost track. Okay, so I'm going to add it up.
I'm sorry, I've been kind of trusting you on that one, Natasha.
Yeah, well, yes. It's sort of multitasking. It's hard to keep everything.
No, I know, absolutely. I sort of thought that you had, but I'm not certain.
1, 2, Marcus, these are all Surrey. Paul's Northumberland. Chris is Northumberland. Yaroslav's Northumberland. So that's 3-3 and 2 draws. So it should be 4-4. So okay. I think I need to put in one more Surrey.
One needs to come in, yeah.
Which is either Marcus or Chris, whichever one I hadn't done already.
Okay, so you've done one of the two. That's all you need to know, really.
Hopefully the crowd will tell me if I'm getting my numbers wrong. Pity you couldn't have played Story Sniper Endgame Bootcamp to a junior. Well, that's always good because then you'll see the juniors improve. I watched actually this morning a video of Gukesh, and he'd just been on a boot camp with Kramnik, and they were saying all the things they'd learnt from this boot camp. It was from about 4 years ago, and there was like Gukesh and Prague and Leon, who played the violin, and the 6 of them. And I just thought, wow, that is sort of nice, isn't it? See how well they've all done. So, Charlie, after your boot camp, your juniors, hopefully they can achieve some great things.
Jeez. We've missed something quite important, which is Queen E3, which looks like a very
Queen E3 is played.
That makes quite that improves White's chances quite a bit, I think.
Okay.
For some reason
running scores. I'm going to just open that in the background. Thank you, BD Gambatir. Let's do that. And do I have it right? 4-4. What do I say?
Yep, 4-4.
Oh, good.
That's good.
Perfect.
Excellent.
That is good. All righty. Cool. And so Queen E3 we missed.
This is altogether much more difficult. Well, I mean, yeah, missed. We sort of looked at a few things and went elsewhere, but Queen E3 would have been good to see.
So, I mean, you could lump the knight back in on F2 if you wanted.
Well, but then I think one thing that's new is there's some... Oh, knight G5 anyway. That's the move we liked before.
Yeah.
How does it work in this case? If White takes on...
Queen E5.
Queen E5.
You have to be a bit careful. They don't. I suppose we are defending h7 for black, so
that's true. That may be very significant. That may give black options to just play it slowly, oddly enough. I mean, oh wow, look, I thought white was going queen takes e5, but he needs the queen there. I think queen takes e5, maybe even queen g3 or something was a move, just threatening all the knight checks without having to necessarily implement them immediately. The threat and the execution and all that.
Yeah.
I know. That's rook takes a7, of course. He's controlling this very well, given that it's not easy to do.
So Mark Joss, is that a new result?
Ooh, he's won.
Yes, I think that's a new result.
Yes, we liked his position, but we didn't realise he was close to winning.
Yeah. Okay. And so.
Yeah, I was a bit curious about queen c3, although we sort of.
Yeah, this is what happened.
Yeah, this is looking very. He's got a lot of control here.
Okay.
Knight on c5 is beautiful, isn't it?
Another point for Surrey, so that's going to make it 5-4.
That knight's just trapped on f4, which is a nice illustration of why h5, h4 is such a good idea.
Okay.
Okay, that's a good.
Okay, yeah, we're good. I'm agreeing with the official scoreboard, so that's always good.
That's good.
Okay, so here we go. We were going to just go back because we're mid.
Did you?
And they haven't got much time left now. Imagine playing this on 15 seconds.
No, this is quite tough at speed, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's just very good, perhaps. No, what happens after king h1? If bishop takes, he just wants queen g3 check, and then he can take on h3 as well before going into some rook ending, I guess.
So king h1.
Yeah, but king h1 is a question, and then he just goes queen g3 and forces white to take anyway. So.
But if they take, you can't take back with the rook because it's.
No, but you have to go queen g3 check.
Queen h3 first.
Yeah, we're going to get the same position like this. I think it's going to be checks, and then because he can't take back with the rook, it will be a rook ending with queen takes f3 at some point, and black is 3 pawns ahead.
So is it? So it's this
here, queen h3 and queen takes, I guess, and then for all white's hard work, black is going to convert a rook ending with 3 extra pawns.
Or you can even go check there first, can't you?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but after king f1, you still have to take with the queen, so I think you're better off doing it immediately.
You've got it with checks, so they have to take the queen.
Oh, I see. Well, they had to take anyway. They were getting mated otherwise, so
okay.
I don't think there was any.
No doubt.
I mean, and then we go rook d3 at the end, and that's removes the counterplay, and then black just wins, I suppose, with the extra pawn.
Yeah. This looks funny.
Yeah, that looks very efficient. That's nicely done from Gwilym.
Yeah.
I don't see Gwilym Price playing that much, and when I do, he's looking quite good. I'm not sure why he doesn't play more, or whether he has the opportunity to. But
we've got other
quite
things
impressed with when I do see him. I'm quite impressed. I have to say.
Yeah.
Okay,
so that's that. Actually, they have some more moves. I suppose there we go. That's where they are.
Just
okay. Let's look at Akshaya and David because we were going to pop back in on there.
Oh wow!
So this pawn's turn things around a bit, and I think the crowd was saying it's leveled up a bit here.
Well, leveled up. It might be leveled up on a computer. I mean, it's certainly improved a lot for white.
Yeah.
I haven't yet sort of worked out whether who's going to make it difficult for whom.
Yeah.
So it's okay. It's black's move, which is probably good news for her. So bishop d8 would be an option if she wanted to just. No, it's not a very clever option. Let's go king d5. That's the move you have to see whether it works first. a7, rook a8, and then presumably king b6 or king a6. It might matter, but I'm not sure. And then king c4. But this might just be rather, I don't know, could be anything. So rook f3, d3, and
yeah, lots going on still.
Maybe knight a5 check. I don't know. It's
king there.
King. Well, oh, I see. Yeah, then you get the d. Okay, that's not. Yeah, that's also not good for. Yeah, this is not by any means a winning try for black, is it? Yeah. Okay, that's quite problematic. So it's all gone a bit. She did have quite a lot of control. We thought when we saw it last. That's kind of lost.
Now,
it's very easy to lose control in those sort of positions. But
is this a new result, Phil Brooks?
Well, this is a result. Oh, it's a result we heavily predicted, but
maybe. I think it's a new result though.
When you get a double question mark and then you're plus 5.7, that's usually a pretty good sign, isn't it? They don't usually work out like that.
So Phil's, I'm going to add in one more for Surrey. Okay. So I was saying it's 6-4 to Surrey. And there's how many boards? 16. So you need to get to 8.5.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, 7-4. This my other track.
Wow,
7-4.
Who's the other one? Oh, is that?
Oh, Gwilym is one.
Of course.
So we
did
didn't
we have Chris Baker as having one already?
Yeah, we did that.
We did. Okay, sorry.
So Gwilym, so this
queen.
queen.
It's gone exactly as we said and ended up in that ending, which is, he went king h1 instead, but it's basically the same thing.
Okay, so
well played, Gwilym. I thought he played very
well played there, and Surrey's getting very close to the finishing post now. They need 8.5. So let's just go to the top here. So this is James Morby against Graham Buckley. James is Northumberland, and Graham's got the extra pawn right now.
Pawn,
yeah. And James's king is coming in, and is that strong or weak? Hard to tell.
Well, I think it's sensible to bring your king in, but so he's threatening to play c4. I guess that's the idea. Yeah, he's sort of trying to win a piece. But I was going to say it's well met by knight takes d3, which it has been.
Yeah.
And well, it's pretty clear that, barring some terrible miscoordination of the pieces, it's only black who's playing to win this. Yes. Which is already something of a turnaround from how we saw it earlier.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what's the best way to organise things with black here?
Kind of want to maybe get the knight out of the way there.
What's the time situation?
1 minute for James and nearly 3 minutes now for Graham.
Yeah, nonetheless, I mean, even if he's got nearly 3 minutes, it feels like time may play a role here. I was wondering about knight f7 with the idea of knight g5 check, but I think White slightly invited that by going king e4. I'm not sure.
Okay. We do have another result, which is board 2. It's gone the other way. Northumberland have clawed one back against Surrey. So
this was inevitable once I sung Peter Large's praises to quite that extent at the beginning.
Okay.
Oh, so wow. Look at there's a useful, interesting piece of information there. Gwilym has 8.5 out of 9 in the 4NCL this year.
I knew he'd done well. Oh, yeah. I didn't realise quite how.
When I said I wasn't playing that much, I wasn't even aware of that, actually. That's, well, fantastic.
Yeah. So it should be 7-5 now.
Okay. So it's still some fight here.
Yeah. So let's go back to that one.
Yes. Yeah, this turnaround could prove to the extent that it was a turnaround, could prove to be quite important for clinching things for Surrey, perhaps.
Yeah, 7-5. I make it.
Yeah, if he's.
Let's just see this what this one's like. This is this has moved on a lot, and the Surrey player is black, who is Ashley. So
I'm trying to remember what it was like when we last saw it. Did
there
we
were all
like?
these knights in the middle. It was the game we never quite
Okay.
got to made sense of. But now this
I
is just
understand it now. The queen is better than the bishop because it controls
yeah,
the dark squares as well.
Yes, so that
And because it's a queen.
yeah, that's going to look very good for Surrey then, because that will probably be the full point.
Yes, that is very important for Surrey, I think.
Let's just see Bob. Oh no, what's going on here? Bob's.
Well, he's performed some heroics. I mean, but
yeah.
I mean, obviously, black ought to win, but there is, well, you sense a certain randomness developing in the play. You know, white does have potentially threats, I suppose, if something goes.
Oh no, this one shows 4-8. 3. Must be new. Oh, that one's showing as a win for Peter Large, the official one, but it isn't, is it?
I'd be very surprised. Well, let's just see how.
No, this one's showing as a win for David Eggleston. So
can we just see the end of the games? We haven't the final position. We haven't seen yet.
Yeah, let's see if I go right to the end.
That looks very hard to imagine that was a win.
To imagine Peter's on that. So I think the official score sheet has it round the wrong way.
Right.
That's it. Let's back ourselves. We're right.
Yeah, we'll back ourselves here.
5-7 to Surrey at the
moment. It'd be a very bad moment for Black's phone to go off, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It's almost unimaginably awful thing.
Okay. So now has this one finished then, the Ashley Stewart one? Ashley Stewart's won, so that goes to Surrey. Okay, so now Surrey needs half a point to make sure it doesn't even go to tie break. But well done for Ashley on turning that one.
No, indeed.
Around. Okay, then so Bob we thought was in trouble. Oh, Bob's in big trouble. So Akshaya could Northumberland actually win all 3 of these? So
okay, this has gone better than I was wondering if it might. But
Akshaya is looking pretty good for her.
Wait a minute.
Oh, or maybe not.
Well, I was going to say white can immediately take on e6 and d8 and. Okay,
Yeah.
She
only needs to draw.
There's no losing. There's no losing chances for white here. I think rook. For black, there's no losing chances. You could play rook g7 and h4 or something if you want to make an immediate draw. So I'm sure that black's completely safe, but I'm not sure that she's really got winning chances anymore.
No, but she doesn't. She only needs to draw. We need.
No, indeed, yeah, of course.
But it's hard to know if they captain can tell them or not about that.
Yes. Oh, this is certainly going quite well for Graham.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So here, Graham's got 2 minutes left. I guess he could just.
He could do many things. That looks pretty sensible.
Yeah.
He's just gonna. He can. If nothing else happens, he can go c4, c3.
Yeah. So king's coming back.
It's probably what he's about to do because c4 just. White can't take on e4, so it feels like the end. Pretty much.
c4 couldn't the knight take it? Oh no, sorry, you just take that. Yeah.
Looking good.
Yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on Bob's game. Still going.
Graham Buckley's someone who seems to be playing quite a lot more chess recently. He sort of stopped for a while, as far as I could see, and he's playing okay.
Yeah, so he's playing in the seniors.
Is he? Ah, okay.
Lots of people in this match are.
Yes. Well, there you go. C4. That's the sensible
Looks
way
good.
To
So Akshaya, yep, and this one probably a draw.
Yep, I think so.
And Bob is
Wait.
in. Oh, wait! I was only looking at.
I was going to say things could go wrong if Bob's going to get a perpetual check. I think.
Yeah.
Which is remarkable.
Yeah, because if the queen comes in and defends, and black does that, white, and then white's winning. Maybe.
Yeah. Extraordinary. Well, that's a bit of a turnaround.
So this one will be a draw.
Yeah, so the only thing that's going on here, if it's not being a draw, is Bob looking to see if he can win a rook down.
Yeah.
Which I suspect he can't.
You'd be a brave man.
It would be brave, and yeah, that would be.
But is this computer evaluation? Is that correct? Because then if it is, the computer doesn't think it's perpetual.
Well, it's very clearly a perpetual. I mean, even if white goes queen c8, after king a7, white can even make it a perpetual by going queen c5 check. They don't even need the winning pawn ending. So
I see.
I mean, I'm sure that it's a perpetual.
No, I agree.
I think the assessment just hasn't somehow.
I'm adding it in to our score sheet.
Yes.
So 5.5. So Surrey wins. Surrey are the new 2024 county champions.
Oh, a draw on board 5. Did we have that?
Draw. Oh, is a draw on 5?
Akshaya's drawn. Okay.
Sorry.
Akshaya has already just drawn. So.
Okay, so it's going to be 6 to 9.
Yes.
And so it's just board 1 going on.
Oh wow! Is it just down to board 1?
I think it's just that one left, which is
In which case, James maybe. Oh, there's nothing happening because they've agreed to draw. Okay, that makes sense.
Oh no, Graham's won. It's saying. Okay, well, so that is the end.
If you're confused by the final, if anyone's confused by the final position, it's because the king was on c4. King d4 is the centralization of the kings.
Okay, so actually, it was looking close, but it has turned out to be a 10-6 win for Surrey. So congratulations to the Surrey team. Some very nice games there. In particular, I'm going to mention Gwilym Price's game was very nice, and Graham did a good turnaround on his, which wasn't looking so good at one point, we thought. Any other games you want to mention, Peter?
There were many good games. I thought David Eggleston handled it. I mean, he got a nice opening, but he handled it pretty accurately. And well, I mean, I don't want to mention Nigel Povall against Andrew Burnett because it looked horribly like a horribly off day for Andrew, but it was clearly one of the big convincing victories as well. So yeah, there were lots of good games all the way down. There were interesting chess going on.
So congratulations, both teams, in particular the new champions, Surrey, and well done to all the organisers and the captains. I'm going to say a mention to captains here because I know what a lot of work it is to get a team out, especially if you have to travel and organise all that sort of thing.
Well, especially if it's 16 boards as well. Getting a 16 board team out is quite an impressive feat at all, I would have thought.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Alrighty then. Thanks everybody very much in the chat for your comments. Thanks, Peter, was fun, and thanks everyone very much.
Thanks a lot. It was really
watching.
Nice. Thanks, guys.